And we've been saying, or this issue of the land, this issue that Donald Trump fears so much, we offer this question of the land. I don't know what Donald Trump has to do with South African land, because he's never been here. And he must keep his America, we will keep our South Africa. That's what he must do. South Africa is our land. South Africa belongs to all the people who live here in South Africa. It does not belong to Donald Trump. He can keep his America. And Ene is even worse. He's even worse. When I meet him, I will tell him. I'll say, you, Donald Trump, you are even worse, because your forebears came to America. They found the native, the indigenous Americans. They wiped them out. They killed nearly all of them. Rine, we are living as a nation, and black and white, we are going to find solutions for our land question. So Donald Trump must leave us alone.
Well, dipshit, Donald Trump's grandparents were immigrants to America. Their forefathers did jack squat to take land from Indians, you dumb, racist pig. Wow. Yeah. Did that spell it out for you there, Cyril? Wow.
I'm saying bye to all the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming. It's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.
So you said that you were gonna cut aid from South Africa. Will you plan to cut aid across other African nations, and why South Africa?
No, it's only South Africa. Terrible things are happening in South Africa. The leadership is doing some terrible things, horrible things. So that's under investigation right now. We'll make a determination. And until such time as we find out what South Africa is doing, they're taking away land, they're confiscating land, and actually they're doing things that are perhaps far worse than that.
And on the back.
Fuck around and find out. Fuck around and find out. Well, ANC, you were warned. Shots fired, ladies and gentlemen. I warned South Africa. I warned the powers that be. YouTube put me in the gulag and tried to silence me for the past 5 years. I told you this was coming down the pike. There would come a time when American politicians finally wake up to the fact that we offer the generosity of our purse and our hands and our help, loving care to the world, and we get shit on and spit on. Well, on the 23rd of January, just 3 days after Donald Trump was sworn as president of the United States, knowing full well that Donald Trump opposed any sort of expropriation, violation of private property rights, Cyril Ramaphosa took pen in hand and took ink and signed the Expropriation Without Compensation Law into existence. And he expected no consequences. Now, I will tell you that in the past 2 weeks, there's probably been some very serious shuttle diplomacy between Pretoria and our embassy in Hatfield, and nothing has come of it. So now the hammer comes down. Fuck around and find out. Ladies and gentlemen, this hour tonight, Donald Trump has decided to end all future aid. What does that mean in the immediate impact? Well, there is very little information because Trump just announced this within the past hour. I've already done a video letting people know what's going on here. But beyond that, there's been very little information. The media in the U.S. are just now getting around to reporting this. We've seen lots of reports of this. Where the heck did my news go? I had it here a second ago. There we go. Sorry, it took me a second to find it here, folks. But the media is just getting around to reporting this. In fact, India is quicker at it. They're usually a lot better. We've got one report from Reuters, which now wants money to do anything. I got India Today reporting on this. And then the U.S. media have not. Bloomberg did an initial report on it, but you got to pay them behind a paywall as usual, too. The Washington Examiner is the only U.S. paper I've seen that has reported on this to date. No South African papers have reported on this this hour because they're asleep. They don't have 24-hour desks. This is what the South Africans news. Understandable. It's not exactly a big country with lots of resources, but no reporting on this whatsoever coming from South African media at this hour. Let me just check one last one. I was going to look for Daily Maverick, and I didn't get a chance to do that yet to see if they've reported on it, although I doubt it because they usually do weekly stuff. Where the heck is my Daily Maverick? It's not here, my link. Jeez, just when you need things. So what does this mean, folks? Well, it means that the money that's in the pipeline for PEPFAR today will remain. But there'll be no more future money unless Trump compromised with Congress to pass legislation allowing. Also, you can expect to see in the immediate aftermath when the expected response coming from the ANC would be, how dare they? Watch, they'll get arrogant, they'll be lippy, they'll be mouthy, and then the consequences will come. South Africa will find itself immediately suspended from the Africa Growth and Opportunity Act. Yeah, so there you go. Wow. All right, let me say hello to everybody. Val is here. When? It's effective immediately, future aid. But future aid is something that doesn't come until the next fiscal year. So there you go. Salem's Cave says probably executive order. In my opinion, commies really can't read a room. No, they can't, Salem's. They cannot read a room. How many times have I had to tell people this? I tell you. They do not listen. Ladies and gentlemen, this hour, Donald Trump has announced this evening, boy, was my video the other day apropos. Was that apropos? Will that video take off again now? I hope so. Wouldn't that be interesting to see people suddenly pay attention to this? Now, we're going to get all the pundits that know nothing about Africa Growth and Opportunity Act, all the pundits that know nothing about HIV, all the pundits that never worked with PEPFAR, all the pundits that have never lived in Africa or America, come out and tell us all their opinions about what's going on, how this affects this, that, and the other. I have told you I've been correct all along, and I remain correct in this. Now, the actions Trump takes, that's up to him. But my assessment has been spot on, and my facts and figures have been irrefutable. So I saw this earlier today when I was in my live stream. Some guy, Phil 200, whatever, came on there and tried to pull this nonsense about the U.S. imperialism. You know what? How is it imperialism when we take back our money and don't give it to you anymore? That's not imperialism. If anything, it's leaving you alone. Oh, my goodness. Who else we got here? Eric is there. Richard Kuhn. Good morning. I know it's early for South Africans. Definitely early. And I was knackered. I took a little nap earlier. Dan Bailey's in from Wyoming. Dan, how's it going? Early afternoon for you, or early evening, I should say. It's 5 p.m. there, or 6 p.m., excuse me. And then Arctic is here, and Tony Noj in from the oil sands. He says, Trudeau thinks we're going to back him after what he's done to us. Wait for it, folks. He bet on the wrong people. He sure did. And I'm mad as hell. We ain't going to take it anymore. Yeah, I got to put that clip in there someday in one of my videos from News, what is that, News TV or News Radio, whatever the show was, that movie. Janet Liddy's in from South Carolina. I haven't seen Jenny for a few days. I hope you're okay, Janet. Leah Menar's back. And then Tony, just wait 3 months when inflation kicks in. Canada will beg for change. Indeed. In fact, we just had news a short while ago. Trump's tariffs don't work. That's what we keep being told. Tariffs don't work. Trump is impulsive. He's impetuous. Well, ladies and gentlemen, news coming out of Panama from Marco Rubio's visit to Panama. Or was it Rick Grinnell? One of them was in Panama. Panama has broken its agreement with China over the Suez Canal, or the Panama Canal. Boom, shakalaka. Boom, 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 boom. Shots fired. Diplomacy. Well, threats of tariffs work. Trudeau resigning. Gustavo Petro backing down on repatriation. Claudia Sheinbaum backing it on repatriation. China being very quiet about the tariffs imposed on them. And now the Panama Canal Zone not falling into Chinese communist hands. Yeah, tariffs don't work. The threat of tariffs don't work. Yeah, okay, sure. See, when you mess with the bull, you get the horns. And we have been taking it up the backside like we've been hanging out in a gay nightclub for the past 30 years in America, doling out our tax dollars and foreign assistance to people who piss all over our leg and tell us it's raining. It's time for that to end. Arctic says, yeah, morons, blow your vuvuzelas. Let's see how you eat next month. Exactly. That's good. Bianca says, we're wide awake at this hour. Well, let's, what's this word? Waka. Okay. Okay. Gotcha. Okay. Richard Funderlinda, how's it going there? Well, WF in China will invade us softly. Well, they're already invading it. It's already there. Cyril is scratching what? Scratching where best to stay away. So macadamia nuts are quadruple the price now. We produce our own macadamia nuts, Hold. We don't need imports from South Africa. We just happen to buy them because we've got plenty of money. We're the world's largest producer of macadamia nuts. We've only been surpassed because we didn't add more acreage. That's all. Bernard, well, I've told Trump, but I don't have his ears. So I've been telling him that all along. I've been telling everybody that all along. And, well, he said it's much worse than people realize. He didn't go into detail. He was caught boarding or getting off a helicopter there. Who thought Starlink would be the straw that breaks communists' back? Yeah, I didn't. I said it was going to be expropriation without compensation would break the back, because the United States really can't, argue about the Bella bill. That's really, truly an internal situation. But the problem when it comes to expropriation of property is that South Africa is a signatory of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which guarantees private property rights. South Africa is a participant in the Africa Growth and Opportunity Act, thereby creating an obligation to adhere to the principle and the sanctity of the protection of private property rights. When South Africa violates that, then AGOA becomes null and void for South Africa, which is what I said. And they got away with it for 2 weeks, getting goods and things, services into the country duty-free. And somebody came on earlier. Who was it earlier? Well, it's only certain categories thing. Fine. But why do people want to argue with me this? You think it's not a bad thing? You think, you can go your own way? Fine. You got what you asked for. You will get no future benefits from the relationship with the United States. There you go. And South Africa wants to play tit for tat. We go with that. What are you going to, you're going to ban U.S. tourists? Okay. That'll cost you a few $1 billion a year. That's a smart one. Yeah. Cut your nose off, spite your face. Wow. Bianca says, thank you for sharing this news so swiftly. Bianca, it's what I do. If I find out about a story like I did on the land invasions yesterday, Stephanus Leroux, thank you for your subscription. Like I did yesterday when I put that video up before any mainstream media in South Africa, with the exception of SABC, putting that story out. Thank you, Chris Ehlers, for the tip-off on that, by the way. What's happening up in Polokwane. I do it. I covered events as they broke live in South Africa back in the day when everything was happening. What with Senegal, I was the only one covering Senegal other than ENCA the day that it happened the first time when they flipped over the bucky, and then the cops drove into the damn courthouse. Then they charged white South Africans with terrorism. But so I was the only one covering it that day. But then Senegal 2, I and everybody and their brother was covering it. I covered that as well. And then I covered Brockenfell when the EFF tried to cause chaos there and attacked a car dealership, destroying cars, and ran away like little cockroaches when the police fired a water cannon at them. I covered the Phoenix March. I covered the EFF's march on Pretoria to demand Sputnik and the Chinese jab. I cover breaking news stories every time I can, whenever I can, wherever I can. So, yep. I wonder how many missed calls the State Department has from 24 plus 27 numbers. I wonder. Yeah, I wonder how many phone calls are coming in right now from Pretoria, from Cape Town. I'll bet the switchboard is burning up in Washington. Unfortunately, there's no response. I'm sorry, there's no answer at that number. The number you're calling is disconnected. I can picture it now. Cyril. Oh, no. Oh, no. Yeah. The number you dialed is no longer in service. Oh my goodness. Yep. Hello, Gus. How's it going? Gary Wild, how's it going? You guys entertain me. I love that. You're wondering phone calls we missed in the States. That's a good thought there. Shawnee, welcome to you. Gus, Dan Bailey, surviving the weekend at 70-mile-an-hour winds. Good Lord, 70-mile-an-hour winds. That's crazy out there in Wyoming. Maybe I have to rethink that as my retirement destination. Boss Deborah's back. Elon told Trump, cut the ANC's balls off and let's import the SAFRA workers. Well, there you go. Hey, we don't need Mexicans and Guatemalans and Venezuelans to work on our farms. The South Africans will come here in droves and do a far better job and not be a problem and fit in culturally, whether they're black, colored, or white. All right. Gabriel's in from the Schweiz. Carl says, Chris, can Trump take South Africa when they take Greenland, please? I'm sorry, Carl. We have enough problems. I don't think we need South Africa's problems. Lee Roberts says back. Hey, Lee, how's it going? Should we do a little Tresemme? My neighbors were not asleep right now. I would run around in my can and pwomp worse than Vuvuzela. Says Val. Well, oh, my goodness. Leah, good to see you there. Trump must bust Cyril big time. Francois Fondevest, what's happening? I've joined late from Bordeaux. Francois, Donald Trump, a little over an hour ago, posted a tweet on his, or a truth on his Truth Social, and I will show you that on the screen, and I'll read it just now. And since then, he's been cornered on the tarmac at Andrews Air Force Base by the media, and I gave you a Fox News report on that. Let me find the Trump Truth Social post. This is Trump's Truth Social post right here. Let me just go ahead and get this up on the screen, and I'll read it to you what Donald Trump posted a short while ago. South Africa is confiscating land and treating certain classes of people very badly. It is a bad situation that the radical left media doesn't want to so much as mention. True. A massive human rights violation. At a minimum, it is happening for all to see. The United States won't stand for it. We will act. Also, I will be cutting off all future funding in South Africa until a full investigation of the situation has been completed. The United States will not stand for it. We will act. Well, folks, cutting off future funding is not acting. That's in the future. What does this mean? Does this mean that Trump will take South Africa out of AGOA? Well, you can bet dollars to donuts AGOA is dead letter in Pretoria. You no longer have access to our market. I almost 100% guarantee that will happen. You'll see that come out either tonight or tomorrow from the Trump administration. And you will likely see the United States, very serious possibility the United States throws sanctions on South Africa on top of ending the aid. Now, the money that's inflowing now, that's why I said future aid, future assistance, that stuff is legislated. So it's in the law. We have to do that. Unless, he can prove something like terrorist funding. But Trump will have to let the PEPFAR money and the USAID money that's already there, he'll allow that to continue through this fiscal year. It is February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September. That gives South Africa 7 months to right the ship. 7 months to right the ship. And they're not going to. Or are they going to? We shall see. So the leftists and the black supremacists are going to come on and say, well, who are you to dictate to us? We're nobody to dictate to you. You do what you want. You want to get pungas out and murder people in the streets. You want to tax people to death. You want to lock people up because of the color of their skin. That's on you. We have no control over that. However, we don't have to sit by watching a train wreck and do nothing about it. We are finally stepping up. So remember a few years ago, I played that video in the beginning. Donald Trump, what does he know about South Africa's land? He's never been here. We don't need him. He can just go back to America. Well, we're going back to America. How you like them apples? How you like them apples, buddy? Yeah. All right. First land grabs, 5,000 shacks. Trump. Yeah, no, we're not doing any land grabs in South Africa. Rian Boyson says Trump must bust Cyril big time. So you've just joined from Bordeaux, Francois. So there you go. C'est vraiment incroyable. Ce soir, j'ai lu que le président des États-Unis, le Donald Trump, il a dit qu'on n'a pas donné l'aide en Afrique du Sud à cause de expropriation without compensation. C'est vraiment incroyable. Enfin, quelqu'un fait quelque chose contre l'Afrique du Sud pour les choses mauvaises qui viennent de l'Afrique du Sud. All right. Artie says, can we sell him Pretoria? I don't know about that. State Department voicemail. If you're calling from South Africa, please press 1 and go fuck yourself. Arctic, you're too funny. That's funny. Let's see if the BRICS countries come running to help us. They won't. They won't. They won't. China has no money right now. Russia is in a lot of trouble. You think Brazil's going to cough up the money to help you out? I don't think so. India doesn't have the money. 375 South Africans are being sent back. I wonder how many are actually Nigerian. Teresa, I don't know about that. Trevor Bezuidenhout says that watching from Nelspruit. Hey, Nelspruit. I haven't been in Nelspruit in a long time. Trevor, I'm trying to get back during a Springboks test match there. I have to look and see if there's any this season. I really wanted to get there last time, but I couldn't make it. Yeah, I have not been to Nelspruit since, 20-some years. It's been a while. I've been near there. I went down to Eswatini, but I haven't been to Nelspruit in a long time. Ramaphosa signed a declaration of civil war with expropriation bullshit. The white man will take South Africa back, never surrender the land back, says Golat Kokomor. Okay. NHI paying for entry. Yeah, no, there is no NHI. And you won't be, now you thought you couldn't afford NHI before, but now lose $500 million a year in money that goes into your medical system. That's gone. That is 10 billion rand per year that's not available for medical care in South Africa. So that just ended NHI right there. Yep. Who else we got here? 124 people at this hour, ladies and gentlemen, at 8 p.m. U.S. Eastern Standard Time, which makes it 3 o'clock in the morning in South Africa. We have 120-some people here. Thank you all for tuning in. I'll run through the video, I'll run through the comments, and I'll tell you what's going on in full and the impact of it in just a moment here. But I need to take a short pause and drink something because my throat is parched. So, Colonel, if you were ambassador to South Africa, what would you advise? Well, Arctic, I would have advised not doing this yet. I would have advised a delegation of a senior U.S. official like Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, to go to South Africa to urgently meet with South Africa and warn them. You have 30. See, this is the problem. This is the problem with people that are appointed positions politically that don't know the ins and outs of what's going on, and people that have the experience to know what they're doing and are patriotic. So the clock started ticking on January 23rd. South Africa can right this ship and end this nonsense like that. All you have to do is get 132 members of the parliament to sign a declaration opposing the Expropriation Law Compensation Law. Sign it, send it to the Constitutional Court. The Constitutional Court must, under Section 80 of the Constitution, review that request, and they must respond. And most likely they will determine the expropriation of compensation is unconstitutional and null and void. If that were done, this will be resolved. I would have been in Pretoria talking to Ronnie Lamola and talking to Cyril Ramaphosa and telling them, you fucked up. You stepped on your schwanz. Yeah. May the schwanz be with you. You stepped on your schwanz. And you don't have to take our assistance, but if you think that going forward we're going to tolerate this abuse of human rights, and it is about white people, it's about South Africans. Your violation of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which you always talk about in glowing terms. You talked about Gaza and how Israel is violating human rights. They violated the UDI. You violated the Universal Declaration of Human Rights by expropriating or making a law to expropriate with compensation and disregarding private property rights. So I would say to them that, and I said, here's the deal. You got 30 days legally to fix this, and nobody loses any face. Leave it up to the courts. If on February 22nd, this is not reversed, you will be suspended from AGOA. All future foreign assistance will end. Defense cooperation will end instantaneously. We will pull up our stakes for USAID headquarters in South Africa and move it back to Botswana. What say you, Cyril? That's what I would do. But then I'm not rich and powerful or Jewish or married to billionaires. And Donald Trump doesn't know who I am. So he's going to go with Joel Pollack, I guess, to be his ambassador. That's what I would do, Arctic. All right. So Bianca says, this is all such bad news for everyone in South Africa in terms of repercussions, whichever way this finally goes. It is, Bianca. And look, do you see me taking any look? First off, I'm 100% correct. My analysis has been correct all along. I've been telling people this all along. I told you the consequence of this. I get these leftists playing left. I'm not boasting. I'm a good analyst. I know what I'm doing. And all things being equal, I do a pretty good job making predictions. Pretty good. And the list of them is endless. We could run through a whole bunch of them. But I take no joy in being right. I take no joy in getting this correct. None whatsoever. I don't want to see South Africans suffer. Black, white, brown. Why should South Africans suffer because your government is evil? You shouldn't. But you've been suffering without our help. And we've been enabling the ANC. That enabling ends now. Xian just finished work. Xian, where are you at in China? You got a panda and a Chinese name there. Welcome to you. Hey, Gary Wow. Richard Fundland, a new generation of black leaders must come through. Otherwise, there's no... Well, I agree, Richard, and I'd hoped that it would happen by now. These fossils. But the problem is that they've inculcated the next generation of morons. I mean, look, a 50-year-old is too young to have been part of the struggle. Too young. They weren't part of the struggle. That's nonsense. Tembe Similane was not part of the struggle. Yeah, her sister was kidnapped and murdered. Dave B., thank you for subscribing. Her sister was kidnapped and murdered, but that wasn't her. She wasn't part of the struggle. But those people have been infused and poisoned with the ideology of racial hatred, revenge, get whitey, and everything's colonialism and Jan van Riebeck's fault. That is not helpful. That is not helpful. Even if that were true, which it's not, that's a thin reading of history. Even if it were true, it doesn't get us down the road to tomorrow. As a historian, I'm very well familiar with the Reconstruction era, with the formation of the Ku Klux Klan and the racist behavior of Democrats in the southern states and around the country as they formed the little local clutches of Ku Klux Klan. But sitting around and playing the victim of it and moaning about it doesn't change the future. What changed the future is working together. And nobody alive today in America is a victim of that era. Rian says, Ramaphosa is just going to say America must mind their own business and leave Africa. Yeah, well, good. And we'll watch the RAND. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's see the RAND. It's Monday. It's a good timing for this. Let's see what happens to the RAND. In fact, I'm going to open up a window so I can keep an eye on the RAND. Okay? And we'll see what happens with the RAND. Yeah, currency converter. Let's take a look. There it is. Why is giving me this? They changed the way they do the currency converter. I don't like it now. So I want to go from RAND. I don't want that. Where's the South African RAND? It's ZAR. I got to go down here. ZAR. South African Rand to the dollar. No Canadian dollars. I want US dollars. Stupid. I don't like the way they did this. This website's been so reliable. I've been using it for 25 years, and now they've just changed it around. I don't like it now. Okay, so I need to switch it around. So $1 equals 18.65 Rand in overnight trading. Let's see what it is tomorrow. Let's see what trading is tomorrow. No, it's just my online alias. I'm from Newcastle. Okay. Where Metal is. Oh, yeah. Okay, well, I wasn't sure. It's people have all kinds of stuff. Bev Kruger says, please look into this whole DRC shenanigans. Bev, oh my gosh. Guys, does anybody watch my content? It's so frustrating. Bev, I've reported on this. I've done a big video on this recently. Let me get the link for that real quickly here and put it up, and you can open up another window. I'm in the wrong. This is prepared video. I'm in the lives. Okay. Here you go. Here's one on that. I've done a bunch of reporting on the DRC, and I've looked into it, and also report on the DRC all along. I've been reporting the DRC being in South Africa long before the SADC mission, and I reported them in Lesotho and in Comoros and everywhere they've gone. So there's a link to that video on the DRC, which didn't get a lot of play on it, but it did all right. So that one got 23,000, 24,000 views, something like that. I'm going to look and see what's happening with my Donald Trump video and see if it takes off now. Not yet. Maybe it'll take off tomorrow. Yeah, Trump is not playing around. That's going to be apropos right now. Hopefully that'll take off tomorrow. Yeah, hopefully that will take off tomorrow. So, yeah. In the meantime, my expropriation without compensation video I did yesterday, that one tailed off last night. I'll bet you it takes off again today. It's 67,000 views. I'll bet you it takes off today. Yep. And the one I just did for Dear South Africa, Let's Not Piss Off Donald Trump, that was earlier today. That one has, hang on a second. That one has 18,000 views. That's going to come back and I'm sure do well. These videos should do very well. And I just did another video, Shots Fired. That's just a 2-minute video as I broke out. That will take off too. We got almost more people watching this than have watched that video. So thank you for being here. Trevor says, I moved from Zimbabwe 44 years. Can see South Africa going the same way. With without the USA, South Africa is heading down to one way. Hoping people wake up here as they did in the U.S. Trevor, you're absolutely right. And unfortunately for Zimbabweans, they didn't wake up, and you were too small of a minority in Zimbabwe to change the outcome. When I say you, I'm talking about rational people. I'm not talking about white Zimbabweans. I'm talking about Zimbabweans. The people were oppressed from the moment that a communist, fascist, totalitarian, scumbag, rapacious kleptocracy came into power in 1980 as a consequence of Margaret Thatcher coming into government and wanting nothing to do with Rhodesia. Get rid of it. I can just picture this now. I don't want to deal with this destruction in Africa. Get rid of this Rhodesia problem. And out of that was begat the Lancaster House Agreement, which in paper was not a bad agreement. But in principle, the Brits didn't do enough to ensure that it was followed through. And then the Brits enabled ZANU-PF to steal for 13 years or 12 years by giving them money for willing buyer, willing seller farms. That money, 63 million pounds, all went to enrich the pockets of ZANU-PF officials in the military and security services and high officials in the politics. They bought land for themselves and they didn't return land to war veterans or poor black Zimbabweans. And that led to the bogus land invasions of 2000. And if you look, as I said, at those who were attacked initially, every one of them was an open or clandestine member of the Movement for Democratic Change, and the whole country unraveled. South Africa, the parallels are there. The path is different, though. Sloth Puppy says, this is such good news, getting international attention. Thank you for all the hard work. You appreciate it. Thank you, Sloth Puppy. I appreciate it. He's fighting for minorities. Thanks, thanks, President Trump. Now our evil president there. Been a genocide, which Trump and Tuck's reporting the first time. Yeah, look, don't get too excited. Donald Trump, he's got people around him are telling this. So we'll see how it goes. Arctic says 168,000 is good job, boss. Can I come store my dollars in your couch? Yeah. Look, I don't put my money in a couch. I put it in a tin can. Actually, it's a stainless steel box I bury in the backyard. And if you believe that, you'll buy anything. My backyard is fully open to everybody. I get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, at least 6 neighbors can see me in my backyard. So I'm not burying anything back there. There is only 2 little cherry trees which aren't growing for beans that I planted several years ago. Dirk Dupree is here. Welcome, Dirk. Rian Boyson, Londonistan, have no more to hide behind. Yep. You know how it annoys me that the Lesotho done the same as Gaza? We would have the same exact reaction as Israel. Was Lesotho an apartheid state? No, I'm not sure where you're going with that. The truth is they stole the money, laundered the money, and the only commodity they have left is lots of land. Yeah. Maybe the United Kingdom figured Balkanized was more profitable. Are you referring to Lesotho? Lesotho is a consequence of the Trek Boers deciding that it wasn't worth the fight to continue going after Mshweshwe. Mshweshwe retreated up to Thabo Nchu into the mountains, and he had rifles, they had guns, and they fought 3 wars with the Boers in the Free State. They continually lost land, and then they retreated back in the mountains, and they're like, we don't really need the Drakensberg that badly. You can't grow maize up there. We'll keep this land here. So that's why Lesotho exists. And then, later they ask for protectorate status, just like Bechuanaland did. I always like that name, Bechuanaland. I bet you want to land. Neo Rain says, I think Elon probably had a lot to do with this. I'm sure he did, Neo. I'd like to think that I had something to do with it, but I don't think I have any push or pull with the Trump administration. But boy, was my timing and my analysis spot on. I hit that nail on the head. Malcolm says, hey, Colonel, love your work. You have the same great DNA running your veins as Trump. Well, thank you. If you're, because I'm a patriot, I love my country. I love humanity, and I don't tolerate BS. Yep. There was no struggle. They lived like kings under part. I'm not sure what Golat's talking about there. So let's get back to some of what we saw here earlier. I'm going to put these back up again, and I'm going to run these videos so that those who've just tuned in can hear this. The 138 plus people currently here, thank you for being here. But here's the breaking news. And the first one I'm going to start with is, hang on a second here. I don't know why this isn't showing up at the top of my feed. For some reason, this video is not showing up. So I got to do a couple little machinations here. Okay, so here we go. We're going to get this thing going here. Okay, a second here. This is very annoying. There we go. Got it. Okay. All right. Got that. That's what I needed in order to pull this off. And now I need to come over and do one more thing. Oh, the things you do just to make things work. Okay. I need the Trump. I'm going to put this up while we hear Cyril. I'm not going to put the video up of Cyril. I'm going to put just his voice. His voice is very annoying. So let's listen to his voice. This is Donald Trump's Truth Social post a short while ago. It says 6:19, but it was originally published a few minutes before that, and he retweeted. For some reason, it has the different timestamp. I'm not sure why, but it is from his Truth Social account. It is legitimate. I verified it. This is what Cyril had to say about Donald Trump a few years ago when this issue of expropriation came up.
We've been saying, or this issue of the land, this issue that Donald Trump fears so much, we offer this question of the land. I don't know what Donald Trump has to do with South African land, because he's never been here.
Well, you're going to find out.
He must keep his America. We will keep our South Africa. That's what he must do. South Africa is our land. South Africa belongs to all the people who live here in South Africa. It does not belong to Donald Trump. He can keep his America. And Ene is even worse. He's even worse. When I meet him, I will tell him.
You do that, Cyril.
You, Donald Trump, you are even worse because your forebears came to America.
Factual story. Donald Trump's forebears were Germans, and his grandparents immigrated to America. They weren't part of the settling of America. They're recent immigrants, dumbass.
They found the native, the indigenous Americans. They wiped them out. They killed nearly all of them.
Factually untrue. Disease killed most Native Americans long before they saw the first white European. 90% plus.
Rine, we are living as a nation, and black and white, we are going to find solutions for our land question. So Donald Trump must leave us alone.
Donald Trump must leave us alone. You know what? Shut up. Shut up, Cyril. You know what? You are going to regret that. That video and that audio recording, which you did for populist reasons to get yourself some votes, is going to come back to haunt you. You will regret that, my friend. Not that you're my friend, Cyril. And people thought Ramaphosa was an improvement. Remember that, Neo Rain? For those who caught the interview I did with Rob Hersoff the other day, when I interviewed Rob Hersoff, I asked Rob, I said, you remember Ramaphoria? in December of 2017, all the South Africans going, "Oh, a new day is dawned. Yay, we're saved by Cyril. He's our savior. He's a businessman. He knows right out of the country." No, 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 no. I told you. I said, if Cyril's serious, he has a chance. But this guy was the deputy president under Jacob Zuma. He was part and parcel of the state capture era. Oh, but he's a smart businessman. No, he's not. You give me $350 million in 1994 in equity stakes in McDonald's and in Kaiser Aluminum, in 3M, and I will turn that into $10 billion by the year 2020. But not Cyril. He's worth pretty much the same amount of money he was worth back then. It was all handed to him. He has no business acumen whatsoever. None. He's just a rapacious... I'm not going to say it. Anyway, yeah. So that's Donald Trump's tweet, and that is Cyril Ramaphosa's response a few years ago. Let Donald Trump keep America. Yeah, okay, thank you very much for your input. But we don't really care what you've got to say. Now, this is Donald Trump caught not that long ago at the airport at Joint Base Andrews, which is, used to have a place there at Joint Base Andrews Air Force Base in suburban Maryland. Donald Trump caught on the tarmac. It looks like he's arriving back in D.C., although it's odd because maybe he just came over to talk to the press because the ramp is there, or he's leaving, I'm not sure, from Air Force One, and there's Marine One. So it looks like actually Marine One, he may have just sent him there to pick him up. So he might have just flown over in the helicopter. I'm not sure the situation, but it's at Andrews Air Force Base, and this is Donald Trump responding to reporters' questions about South Africa and about Africa, because people are panicking. It's not Africa, it's just South Africa. So here you go.
Joel, you said that you were going to cut aid from South Africa. Will you plan to cut aid across other African nations, and why South Africa?
No, it's only South Africa. Terrible things are happening in South Africa. The leadership is doing some terrible things. It's horrible things. So that's under investigation right now. We'll make a determination. And until such time as we find out what South Africa is doing, they're taking away land, they're confiscating land, and actually they're doing things that are perhaps far worse than that.
And on the back.
And that's what Trump had to say on the tarmac. More to follow in this story, folks. It's a breaking story. No news outlets except for Bloomberg and the Washington Examiner. So let's get to the headlines. Did I show you this already? No. So here's the news headlines. Let me get over here real quick. There you go. So Trump announces he's cutting all funding to South Africa due to a massive human rights violation. President Donald Trump said Sunday that he will be ordering a stop to all U.S. funding to South Africa until an investigation is conducted into the massive human rights violation in the African nation. Okay, so let me clarify. He said all future funding. So that doesn't mean the people panic over PEPFAR again and shutting down. No, that's not true. He said future funding. Unless he adjusts that means that we have steady state for the moment, and you are there. But what he did say in his tweet is he's going to take action, which means most likely the biggest action Donald Trump can do now to affect South Africa is cancel access to the African Growth and Opportunity Act. That's within his power as the chief executive. It's a public law. He has the ability to suspend it based on South Africa not meeting criteria. South Africa has violated the criteria. Let me find that. I've got those images here. Find where I've got those. I made another video about this recently when I started talking about this. I got to see how far back that was. Hang on a second here. Oh, I know. I'm looking in the wrong place. I'm not going to find it there. Documents. Here we go. Why is this doing this? View. Extra large icons. There we go. Okay, so let me see if I can't find this. I'm trying to find the images here. I put them in previous videos about this expropriation. Is that it? Hang on a second there. No, that's expropriation. That's South Africa. I'm talking about AGOA. Looking for the AGOA slides. Got it here somewhere. It was a few weeks ago that I made new slides for this for AGOA. And I'm trying to find it now. So sorry, folks. Just thought I could find it here very quickly. It doesn't look like I'm going to be able to do that, though. So my apologies. But anyway, I've talked about this, and I've cited the part of the AGOA law that requires countries to respect private property rights. I'm not finding it right now, so my apologies for that. It'll have to be another time. But it is in here. Hey, Matt Canali, welcome to you. Yeah, it's if you don't respect private property rights, then you're not eligible for AGOA. That's one of many conditions that must be met. Frankly, of the 38 countries currently under the African Growth and Opportunity Act, out of 54 African countries, 57 if you count Puntland, Somaliland, and Western Sahara, but most people don't count them. If you count the 54 African countries, 38 are currently thereabouts members of the AGOA access to U.S. marketplace. And, I had Phil 200 poo-pooing, well, it's not much, guys. And you know what? Fine, it's not much. You think it's not much? You think $2.3 billion of your exports into our country without, let's see how much money that is. I'll tell you how much that is right now for the producers who sell those things, because at a minimum, you get a 2%. So $2,300,000,000. That's $2,023,230. $2.3 billion. Okay. All right, 2.3 billion times 0.2%. So not, that's 10. Is that right? Yeah, there you go. That is $46 million in additional costs for suppliers in South Africa. Times 19, that means people sending goods and services to America in the next year will have to pay a total of 874 million extra rand to get their goods into the marketplace. Either that or they'll eat the cost of it and they'll make 874 million rand less in profit because they don't want to pass the cost on to consumers. So you think it has no impact? You think it's not? Fine. There you go. Be gone. You know, again, we get nothing out of this, man. We get nothing out of this. Nothing. This is what astounds me. And leftists who attack me, you know, look, you don't know who you're dealing with here. You don't know who you're talking to. This guy posted on here earlier, like, yeah, when I did the video about the land expropriation, the land was taken, and you don't know what it's like, and poor people, you don't know. You've never been here. Do you know who you're talking to? I've never been there. I've never been poor. This is the guy that fetched water from a cistern in high school, breaking the ice to get fresh water from a cistern and carrying it down the hill with the water sloshing against my leg and carrying it in so we could cook in the morning. This is the guy that walked 20 kilometers home from baseball practice because he didn't have a car. This is the guy that went to university on full grants being absolute poverty. This is the guy that used an outdoor privy to take a dump and go to the bathroom in the wintertime. I don't know what it's like to be poor. I don't know what it's like to have no money. Look, I'm not saying my poverty is like Bangladesh or the DRC, but I've been poor. And I know what it's like to be in those circumstances. I don't know what it's like about slums in Africa. Do you know where I've been in Africa? These people are comical. You get this from people that have never left Alexandria, or people that never left Pretoria, or people that never left Joburg or Durban. Now, I have lived and worked in Tunisia, Liberia, Botswana, Malawi, Niger, Mauritania, Uganda, and Ethiopia. That's where I've lived at in Africa. And I've worked in over 38 countries in Africa. But I don't know. I just, why? Because I've been cheated. I didn't get any skin pigmentation. So clearly I couldn't possibly empathize or know what it's like to be poor and not know how land is. And the reason this comment came about is because I said that most South Africans don't care about race. How many of you actually care about race? Some of you do. How do I do a poll? Because let me see if I can do a poll on this, because YouTube's been screwing around with the polls. Where the heck is my stream at? Okay, give me a second here. Do a poll. Okay, so I got 100 plus people here now. Start a poll on a daily basis. Do you think about race impacting your life? Okay, and this is for the South Africans, okay? So I asked that only South Africans answer this poll, okay? Well, you can answer if you're not South African, just answer this one. Okay, so this one gives me 3 options. Okay, so there you go. So I've put a poll up. On a daily basis, you think about race impacting your life. Let me see your responses. Be honest. No one can see your results. No one can see what you say. I want to see. I want to see how many of you sit around and mull. Oh, today, black people did this to me. Oh, white people did this to me. Oh, colored people. I bet you most people don't. My experience with the thousands and thousands and thousands of South Africans I met, black, white, brown, Christian, Jew, Muslim, all over the country, Northwest Province, Northern Cape, Western Cape, Eastern Cape, Mpumalanga, Gauteng, KZN, Free State, all those places I've been, most people don't give a crap. It's social media, it's legacy media, and it's politicians that care about that. Well, Patrick, there you go. All right, so where are we at here? Vulgar 999, welcome. If we do this, we want our Elon back. No, you can't have Elon. United States can also confiscate land through eminent domain. There's a very, okay, see, Holden, all right, see, look, Holden, what's your intention of there? What's your intention of making that comment? What's your intention? Let me explain what's going on here. I don't know what Holden's intention is, so I'll assume it's just trying to provoke a academic conversation. Yes, the United States can confiscate land through eminent domain with compensation. And that's the current law of the land in South Africa before Cyril Ramaphosa signed this law, which violates the Constitution. Ladies and gentlemen, that one I can find. I can find that image for you right now. That one I just saw in my documents here. So I gotta organize this a little bit better going forward. Okay, so here we go. That one's pretty easy to find. It was just recently I made those slides. Where's it at? There it is. Okay. Oh, I got the eligibility for GOA. There it is. Okay. All right. So I'll show you what makes you eligible for GOA, and then I will show you the South African Constitution. Okay. So that's perfect. Actually, I can do that now. All right, so here we go. Now I can do this. You ready for this? All right, so I had the slide, I just couldn't find it. So in order to be eligible to participate in duty-free access, now there's no reciprocity. We do not get duty-free access into South Africa. In fact, many of our products are charged 25% or more tariffs. We send car parts, or we send, tools, or we send software to South Africa. Boom, tariffs, and we don't complain about it. Now, South Africa slapped punitive tariffs of 75% on our poultry exports to South Africa a few years back to protect your failing poultry industry, which was unfair, but you got away with it. We put no duty on your goods of 5,600 goods and services that you qualify for. If you want to ship something in that category, as companies sign up for it, you can send your stuff over here. That includes wine, BMW parts, a whole host of things, biltong, whatever you want. So in order to qualify to remain in that preferential trade scheme, which gives you an advantage over other countries outside of Africa, you must adhere to the following. AGOA's eligibility criteria, Section 104 of Public Law, Paragraph A, a market-based economy that protects private property rights, incorporates an open rules-based trading system, and minimizes government interference in the economy through measures such as price control, subsidies, and government ownership. Well, the last of that's kind of iffy, but the private property, it's pretty obvious what that means. Now, South Africa's constitution, folks, property. Section 25 of the Constitution, property may be expropriated like eminent domain in terms of the law for a public purpose or in the public interest, but it is subject to compensation. The amount of compensation, the time and manner must be just and equitable. And you'll see at the bottom there, under paragraph B, 1B, if property is not limited to land, must be just and equitable. The same thing in America. Now, I am not claiming, Holden Caulfield, if you want to try to put words in my mouth, that that eminent domain is always used legitimately and legally in America. No, it's been used to abuse people. I know. My aunt lived in Bridgeport, Connecticut. They wanted to develop the shoreline where people had lived for 2 centuries. Some of those houses 180 years old or older, people living there. And these were mostly elderly people who had no other means, and that's where they grew up, that's where they lived. And the developers conspired with the state to confiscate that land and pay them and make them move out, evict them from that land. And so they lost their homes that had been in their family for generations so that a resort, casino, shopping center could be built there. The argument was that was in the public interest. Building a shopping center is never in the public interest unless there's a place that has no stores whatsoever. If you live in a remote part of KZN and there's no shop there, not even a tuck shop, well, you can make an argument for in the public interest for building a shopping center. Yeah, but not building a shopping center in the middle of a town, Bridgeport, Connecticut. So eminent domain has been misused. We've used eminent domain to get land from farmers in the Midwest to build the railroads, the Transcontinental Railroad. We use eminent domain. But those people were compensated. And South Africa must provide compensation. And by not providing compensation and stealing land, you are violating private property rights. You are violating the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and you're violating Section 25 of the South African Constitution. And you're pissing Donald Trump off. What was my video earlier today? I said, "Dear ANC, let's not piss off Donald Trump." That's the one I made earlier. I made that based on people's comments. I keep hearing this. Well, we can do what we want. We're sovereign. You can. I have never said that Pretoria and the ANC can't do what they're doing. It's their prerogative. You are not under our sovereignty, and you're not under African Union sovereignty. Do what you want. But actions have consequences. If you're going to kick a member of parliament out because of something put in a video 14, 15 years ago as an academic exercise, with your feigning your shock. Oh, he used the K word and the N word. Oh, what a horrible human being. Meanwhile, you're going to steal land and property from people, confiscate their mutual funds, their retirement packages to enrich a party for a slush fund that is corrupt as the day is long. And you think that's okay? Yeah, you got a little bit sideways in your head there. New to your channel, South Africa, living in Canada. Thank you for bringing us this. You're welcome, Bossy Spees. Okay, well, Bossy, thank you. Whereabouts in Canada? I've been all over Canada. Haven't been to Nunavut or the Northwest Territories, but I have been to Alberta, British Columbia, Ottawa, Nova Scotia, PE Island, Quebec. Yeah, all those places. Well, sanctions are probably coming tomorrow, Nia Rain. Probably coming tomorrow. Malcolm says, amazing you know so much more about South Africa than 98% of its population. Well, yeah. Well, that's what happens, Malcolm, when you are an intelligence professional and you're an educator and you're an intelligence officer and you care about a place and you care about issues. I mean, you pick a topic. If I don't know it, give me a little bit of time, come back in a couple hours, and I bet you'll think I've been talking about it my whole life. It's not a boast. It's just a statement of understanding. But my knowledge and experience with South Africa goes back decades. So I'm drawing on data stored way back here in the back of the hard drive, just accessing it. But thank you for the compliment. Okay. This will kill us. Oh, you wait, Dave. Oh, I'll tell you what. The markets will be open at about 9 o'clock in Joburg. Will that be when the South African Stock Exchange happens? It's going to be Black Monday. No pun intended against the farm murders. So it's going to be Red Monday. They're going to be bleeding. No doubt about it. I would not be surprised if Trump imposes sanctions on top of this announcement. I would not be surprised to see companies move to delist from Johannesburg Stock Exchange, leading a flood back to London or New York to get out. Yep. Hey, Jeanette, how's it going? Leon Potgieter, the rand already fell. Yep. Oh, did it already fall? Let me take a look. 1865. Where's that at? There it is. Let me see. Reload. Why does it keep doing the Canadian dollar? Damn it. This stupid thing. I don't want the Canadian dollar. I want the South African rand. The website used to be so much better. Now they've ruined it. This is what software engineers always do. Well, we know better than the consumer. We're going to make it this way. No, you don't know better. Why does it give me? I want $1. 18.6. No, the markets are closed, so I don't know when you're talking about when it's dropped. It's dropped previously, but yeah, it's going to drop tomorrow. So Troiko says, Colonel, send the SEALs. The SEALs would have too much fun in South Africa. 9:30 here in the penal colony. These leftists are idiots, says Patrick. 9:30 a.m. You must be 10:30's in Tokyo. Oh, 9:30's Perth. It's tomorrow. Okay, Patrick. Are you in Perth? It's 9:30 there. Okay. Nice surprise, seeing as it's 3:30 in the morning. Okay. Leon says, now is Ekvaka on Endimua and FANC. Yep. Cyril and Co. are not stupid. This is all on purpose. Commies need to control the population via grants and starvation. Well, I suppose they're trying to make themselves martyrs. I think it's an own goal, though. Tony's just gifted some memberships. I'll give you salutes on those in a moment, assuming that the alert box is open. Alert box is open. We'll see what happens. Rooibos tea. Oh, that reminds me. I'll get some Rooibos tea tonight. So there's Chris Opperman. Thank you for the membership gifted there. Bosch Zebra's back. Just pick the RAM back up. Good luck with that. We'll see how that goes. All right, let me see what's going on. So, wow. So it's 49-43, Crystal Pontiac. It's 48 to 43 people who are South African. So 5% more say it doesn't affect them. So when I said most, I was correct. It's a plurality, at least with my poll. Vikas De Beer. And my community is very much skewed. It's not all South Africans. So, Sovereignty comes with responsibility, says Neo Rain. Charles Van Der Spee. And Chris, please tell Elon not to submit to be... Oh, yeah, for Starlink. Screw that. And the Oracle Cat. Yep. Colombian is nice. What, coffee? Richard... Answering, okay. Sovereignty isn't a license to legalize theft. No, it's not, Neo Rain. Chris Holmes says we handled sanctions a lot better in the 80s than the country will today. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, because nothing works. In the 1980s, Sassel worked. Denel worked. Arms Corps worked. You had control of the economy. You had control of society. People needed the gold that you had. Nobody needs your gold now. You're a minor gold producer. China produces more gold than South Africa. Our government forces us to think of race with BE and land issue. Yep. Nothing on Reuters yet. Yeah, 1896. That's not the interbank rate, so I'm not sure where that's coming from. 1 of 44. It's going to be a rough ride. Yep, it has to happen. Yep. Ontario is communist, says Gus. Okay, already 19. Where are you getting that from, Leon? Many companies are leaving Gauteng and moving down to Cape Town. Yeah, well, many companies are going to be leaving Cape Town and moving elsewhere. Yep. Thank you to the folks who got their membership. Chris Opperman, JZ73, Crystal Pontac. Bianca says, who would like to bet on what the market will close on Friday? 30 to 1. Wow. And then Oracle Captain was gifted, and Vikas De Beer. Okay. Bev Kruger says, Chris, we have such beautiful people. Only downfall is the government. They are doing their utmost to keep us divided and stupid. Yeah, they have, but that's been the history of South Africa. That's your government, whether it's a minority white-led government or majority black government. It's always been about keeping people divided. It's not about the people. Yep. Ruben Briggity was so right, and it's hitting home now. Yeah, well, I work for Ruben Briggity. He's a smart guy. He's a very political actor, but he's a smart guy. Arctic is just giving a super chat. Thank you. That's worth half a Frappuccino. That's actually almost enough. Well, no, it's not enough. It pays for 2/3 of a Frappuccino at my local giant grocery store because of the taxes, 6% tax. Anna Marie Douglas says 344 here in Vanderbilt Park. I've been to Vanderbilt Park. That's where Monty Jackson lives. Money is power. Backed up, Mike, but knowledge. What's this? Okay, so Spoderman Swag. Well, that's an interesting username. Welcome to Anna-Marie Douglas. Hello, Erica. Liam Polk, I just bought dollars in the app yesterday. Oh, okay. You bought them on an app. That's why. Okay. Yep. Okay, so the poll, I'm going to end the poll. It's got over 100 votes. That's relatively representative here, okay? So I can see, because I can't see my screen properly here. So that's going to end the poll. And the poll is, I was correct. The majority of South Africans, and these are ones watching my program, don't think about race in their daily life. But a lot of South Africans do. I'm glad you're enjoying your Rooibos. No, I need to have some after this, I was saying, Erica. You looked at a delayed rate, interbank rate, because, yeah, 1896 in Reuters. Yeah, I was using interbank rate from Onenda. Wait till Monday, $6 Frappuccino will be 200 rands. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Tea makes me hungry, says Vulgar99. Anyway, folks, if you're just tuning in, we've been at this for nearly an hour. Let me give you an update. A short while ago, and let me see if I can find news on this. Donald Trump put out a tweet on his Truth Social in which he said that South Africa is stealing land, expropriating land, and it's bad news. And so let's see if that's making the news in the U.S. yet. I'm over here, trade war with Canada, Cruz. Nope. Let's see if it's under world. If it hits Rubio, Panama Canal, Gaza. Nope. So I'll do a search, Trump, South Africa, and I'll get alternative sources up. The U.S. media has not really caught on to this yet, except for the Washington Examiner. Trump, South Africa. Trump vows to cut off aid to South Africa. Politico has put something up now. Reuters has put something up. Bloomberg. And beyond that, there's no major news networks here in America. Wow. Good Morning America says he'll cut aid. Okay. Arab News gets it correct. Trump will cut all future funding in South Africa. Yep. There's the Washington Examiner. Do they have the photograph there now? So it looks like some stuff starting to get posted now. Yep. Times Now, I didn't even know what that is 28 minutes ago. South Africa not worried about relationship with the U.S. under Trump. That's Reuters, January 22nd. The day before Cyril Ramaphosa signed the Expropriation Law compensation. We're not worried about our relations with America under Trump. Yeah, here it is. That's what he said. He said, we're not worried. Well, yeah, you shouldn't have worried, but now you do need to worry. And this is an own goal. Mile High. Thank you for joining us. The issues that you've brought up, I have been talking about before they were public knowledge. I have been talking about them since they become public knowledge. I've been talking about how they undermine U.S. national security interests and how all of those actions also arguably disqualify South Africa for the African Growth and Opportunity Act, among other things, and we shouldn't be supporting them in that area. I've been saying that for ages, months, years. So thank you for raising it. Your topics are correct. You're correct, but that's all been covered on this program. What we're covering tonight is the fact that now someone is taking action. There's a new sheriff in town. Scumbag no pants. Trump quoted they are stealing people's land, and that's not the worst thing they're doing. Yeah, I heard that. We played the video. Been enjoying your content for a while now, and thanks for the content. Well, thank you, Spoderman Swag, for joining us. Just saw it on Australian TV. Yeah, no, it's going to break now. It's going to break. The problem is a lot of the world right now, it's the wrong time of day. It's the middle of the night in a lot of places. So here in America, it's not the middle of the night. Here we go. What's this?
5% tax on goods coming into the U.S.
That's not it. So let me see if he gets to South Africa here.
This raises questions.
I'm looking for the South Africa part. There's nothing here. It says it's so there's this is clickbait from Good Morning America. It says Trump, but it's all about Canada and Mexico. Nothing about South Africa there. So that was just clickbait. Yeah. So here's the Times Now, whatever site this is. Trump claims massive human rights violations in South Africa, vows to cut U.S. funding. Yep. President Trump declared on Sunday that he would stop providing South Africa with any more funding because he asserted without proof that certain class of people were being treated very badly. Okay, well, without proof, property owners will be a class of people. And property owners can now have their property stolen without compensation. So they're being treated very badly. So this is just leftist, self-pleasuring, hate-wanking. Aradhana Brahma. Where the hell are these people from? Yeah, you don't know what you're talking about there. Times Now News. Without proof. She is a passionate storyteller and global citizen dedicated to uncovering the world's hidden narratives. Just another leftist, self-pleasuring hate wanker, probably sitting around with a battery-operated device right now, misbehaving. Yep, no doubt about that. Anyway, so that's what's going on at this hour. Airplanes still fly from South... Yeah, of course they do, Vulgar. Of course they do. How else am I getting to South Africa? I can't swim there. Lyndon Hardy. My husband was murdered in 1997. My life was ruined. Now I could lose my property over my dead body. Lyndon Hardy. My condolences on the loss that you suffered nearly 30 years ago. That's horrific. I have been reporting on what's been happening. I don't know if that was a farm murder or in the cities or towns or whatever, but I've been reporting on the violence in South Africa for over 30 years. And specifically with a big focus on it since I started working at the Defense Intelligence Agency back in 2004, 2003, 2004. 2004. Since 2004, and then as an Africanist at the Defense Intelligence Agency, at the U.S. Africa Command, at the Army War College, at the Pentagon. And then since I retired from active service, I've been talking about the violence in South Africa and the rural violence in South Africa. And I've covered a lot of things. And I've come to know some South African survivors of this horrific activity. And I've reported on the Brendan Horner case, on the Edward Neumeister, of a Austrian immigrant who arrived in South Africa in 1970 and at a German-themed restaurant in rural KwaZulu-Natal. And during the lockdown, he was butchered with a panga, suffered a mortal wound to an artery. And then the thug went in to rape and assault his partner in her 60s. And Edward Neumeister struggled up the steps despite being mortally wounded and lunged at the attacker. And she was able to flee. And his reward for that was a brutal hacking to death. I have covered these stories, endless stories of the black cattle farmer in the Free State who was shot in the head when they robbed his butchery. Spent 4 months in a coma, came out of the coma, went home to his farm, and died 6 weeks later as a consequence of the gunshot that went to his head. The Indian woman on the Ayub farm in KwaZulu-Natal in Veenen, who was 4 months pregnant, they took her in the bathroom, left her children in the bedroom, and then sliced her throat from ear to ear to murder her. This horrific nonsense has been allowed to persist in South Africa because of the African National Congress's ineptitude, its malfeasance, its disregard, and its lack of care. As long as it was white South Africans that were making the headlines being murdered on farms, it suited the purposes of the African National Congress. Remember in New York in 2018 when Cyril Ramaphosa says there are no murders in South Africa, there are no farm murders, no white farmers are being murdered in South Africa, no one's being killed on farms. A total lie, and the world just fell for it. I didn't fall for it. I was still on active duty, so I couldn't go on social media and rail about it. But once I could go on social media, I told the truth about it and told people what's going on. Gabriel, you knew Edward Neumeister? Are you serious, Gabriel? I didn't know that. You didn't know that? It was horrific. It was absolutely horrific. I'm so sorry for your loss. I know some of these folks in South Africa who suffered, but only because they've come to me afterwards to approach me, and many people thank me for bringing this story and letting people know about what's going on in South Africa. Now, I was attacked by some white Boers back in the early stages of doing this because I refuse to use the term white genocide because, in my view, that's not the case. It's a consequence of a confluence of factors, not the least of which was the elimination of the commando regiments, 187 commando regiments disbanded by the ANC under the bogus claim that they were racist. It had nothing to do with race. It had to do with rural security and self-defense. Once they were disbanded and then nothing replaced them in the rural areas, things got out of control. And people on farms are isolated. They have resources that are wanted, firearms, cash, radios, cars that people covet. But there has been a concerted effort by consortiums to eliminate farmers. We've seen this go on over and over again. I'm so sorry. You still have his message 5 days before his murder. Oh, Gabriel, look. So I know the Braun family. I've told you that, folks. I've met the Braun family and the survivors of that family. They're wonderful people. And what happened to the Brauns was just horrific in the Northern Cape. Just absolutely horrific. And I've known so many other South Africans who have been struck by this tragedy. I know no family in America in my 60 years of existence who's ever suffered the loss of a loved one through a homicide. I don't know anyone. No one. None. And I barely know anyone who's ever had their home been broken into anywhere in America. Yep. That's horrible. Where else was I at here? Sorry. The first up for EWC will be the private health and systems. Well, no, I think Troico pension funds. Pension funds will be raided. They'll take a percentage of your pension fund and say, hey, we needed this. We needed this to give health care to the poor. But the money won't go to the poor. It'll go to the ANC's pockets. Lyndon Hardy, farm murder. Okay? You can always hole up in some fortress in Switzerland. And load shedding is back. Yep. Francois says, okay, what's this? What this should do is allow Southern multinational business people to speak up and say no more. Exactly. Instead of sitting, and Rob Hersoff said it well when I interviewed Rob Hersoff here on the channel the other day. Rob Hersoff said it very well. People need to wake up, and this should be the wake-up call. This should be the wake-up call for South African businessmen who have been part and parcel of the ANC's nonsense for 31 years. They got along, get along. They're allowed to continue their business. Many of them maintaining monopolies or oligarchies in their industry. The banking industry is controlled by a handful of major banks. Standard Bank, Capitec, FNB. 5 or 6 major banks control the entire banking sector in South Africa for the most part. The retail, you think there's all these restaurants, there's Cape Town Fish Market, and there's KFC, and there's McDonald's, and there's this, and there's Rome, and there's all that. Most of those fast food restaurants are owned by the same company or a small number of companies. You think there's all these retail outlets, right? Yeah. You got Edgar's and you got this, you got that. So many of those are owned by 1 or 2 holding companies. They own multiple brands. And in the same mall, they build businesses that compete with one another and gobble up all the business so no one else can get in. South African businesses love that. They love that. I mean, I'd love to own Romans, McDonald's, Cape Town Fish Market. Now, they're not all owned by the same people. I'm saying I like to own those 3 brands, okay? Right? Own all of them. And Starbucks, I'll have the franchise for all those, all over the country. And they can compete with each other. And you'll never know I own all of them because they're part of a holding company. And the layers to prove where the ownership is way up here. Yeah, no, South Africa has a very unopen marketplace, despite what people claim. Yep. What else we got here in the chat? I'm so sorry about Edward Neumeister. Gabriel, I am almost the only person to report on that story. It was reported in the press in South Africa quickly. His daughter, whom I don't know, lived in Germany. She came back to South Africa and couldn't even identify him. They showed her his body. He was struck so many times. Yep. 69 years old. Vitkreuz. Yes, Bianca, I've covered the Vitkreuz Monument event. I've covered Black Monday. I know the people involved with that. And in fact, there will very soon likely be a what do you call those things when you have people call in and they have a panel? And I have been invited to participate in that, and there might be a very famous person involved in it with a lot of mojo and a lot of money, and you can guess who that might be. If in fact that takes place, I will advertise that widely because I'll be one of the panel members on that. Gabriel will be in Cape Town in 2 weeks, and I'm going to meet his daughter. Gabriel, if you would kindly, if it doesn't cause any pain for her, pass my condolences along and tell her that I never knew her father, but he's not forgotten. Okay? Please tell her that. I hope that his daughter at least appreciates that that he hasn't been forgotten. Okay? I never knew the man, but what happened to him was unconscionable, and the government have not solved the murder yet, to my knowledge. Sanctions will help South Africa, not harm it. Good medicine. We'll see, Home Office. Yes, and you get the low IQ South Africans who make a point of mass shootings in the U.S. Meanwhile, mass shootings. Oh, look, I covered this recently, Neo. The number of people who've died in mass shootings in South Africa far exceeds the number of died in mass shootings in America. But South Africans won't admit that they have mass shootings. They have them all the time in shebeens and in townships and all over the country. Lots of mass shootings. Lots of them. We just had all those people killed in that shack down there in KZN. 21 people butchered. One woman survived because she played dead. This happens all the time in South Africa, and it was covered up by the media, but lately they've been reporting on it. And I've told you the number of deaths. The number of murders in South Africa is larger than the number of murders in America, and our country is 6 times as large population-wise. Wow. 5 banks. Yeah, I said 5 or 6. I think it's 5, yep. My uncle Ferrand survived getting his skull cracked with a tire iron. My goodness, Tony. Some of my, what is this? What was, sorry, the chat jumped ahead, folks. Okay. Can't wait for Trump to hit back on Ramaphosa for what he has to say. Things are going to get quite interesting. As Rob said, Ramaphosa's a moron. Yeah, well, I've said that too. Rhea Vitamin, thank you so much for speaking out for us, Chris. These damn airheads just don't stop. ANC needs to go, and the same for MK. Yep. Well, the MK is just the ANC. So is the EFF. They're just branches of the ANC. And yet you'll get, okay, I already got that. Farm murders, okay, uncle. Some of the people have been farming in America for some time now. Some of your family, okay. I see a lot of Americans wanting to leave. Send them here. We'll quickly appreciate the safety of the U.S. Nobody wants to leave. That's just Hollywood celebrities and social media. Nobody's leaving America. The only one left was Ellen DeGeneres, and she left for other reasons. Irony is our mineral exports will yield more taxes. What mineral exports, Teresa? Platinum, that's about it. Bez Valley Pest Control, that's interesting. Can they start voting with their wallets like the USA? No, they've been doing that in South Africa. People have been voting with their wallets for 30 years. They've moved to New Zealand, to Australia, to Perth, to Auckland, to Wellington, to London, to Ottawa, to the United States. They've been moving for France, Japan, moving for years. So many South African expatriates in the energy field, in education, in business live overseas now, in Dubai, in Kampuchea, in China. And there's so many South Africans living all over the world that that all that human capital is wasted, not in South Africa. Yeah, exactly, Yulumi. White business is complicit in South Africa. No, Yulumi. No, stop. Business is complicit. There's no such thing as white business. Business is colorblind. That's nonsense. Most of the firms that do business in South Africa have BEE components, and many of them are majority black owned. Yeah, Clicks is not owned by white folks. It's not white business. If you want to call it black business, you can call it black business. It's owned by black investors. The list goes on and on of these businesses. The white monopoly capital is a fairy tale. Yes, there are wealthy, incredibly wealthy white South Africans, but this is nonsense. Holding companies, anybody can buy their shares. If anybody can buy the shares of a company, how can it be called white, black, or brown? Unless you've specifically carved off a portion of the equity for a group of people based on their skin pigmentation, which is what the ANC does with BE, making black firms. But there's no such thing as a white firm in South Africa. Just business is complicit in this. Business, all business, yep. And that's what Rob Hersoff is trying to do, get business to open their mouths and do something. Yep. Correct, Amanda. It's not just the farmers that are being murdered. You are correct. And I've been talking about that for years. And that's why I had Willem Petzer come on my program in 2020. Just a second. Willem Petzer came on my program in 2020. He agreed to come on, and he wanted me to come on his program first. So I went on his program, and he interviewed me because everybody was asking him to interview me. And so as paying it back, he came on my program. But on my program, he was very cheeky and disrespectful to me. I mean, acting like I was a 20-year-old like he is. And he said, well, I'm naive. He told me, he said, you're naive. You don't know. Because he said it was a white genocide, essentially. And I said that what's going on in South Africa is rural violence. I said people being murdered are not just farmers, but farm workers, farm managers. What happens in rural South Africa is horrifying. And he told me I was naive. I don't know anything. Yeah, well, I think you're the one naive. You, Willem Petzer, saw things through your lens of being a Boer, and that's all you could see. You can't see what's happening over here. You can't see what's happening over here. But the real reason he told me I was naive is because I talked about people standing up and how they can have an impact. And I talked about a whole bunch of things about getting people to vote. And I happened to just mention in passing universities. He goes, you're naive. I was at university. They're all leftists. You're not listening to what I said. He didn't listen to what I said. So he heard what he wanted to hear, and he saw what he wanted to see, and he made his determination based on that. That was but one element of what I said to get people to change the trajectory of South Africa. That was like the fifth thing I mentioned. It wasn't the focus. Yep. All right. Gabriel will pass on my message. Thank you, Gabriel. Thank you. Yeah, and if she wants to reach out to me, that's fine. I'm not asking to do an interview with her or anything like that, but she wants to reach out, that's fine. And you can tell her that, also ich spreche Deutsch ziemlich gut, schon fast wie eine zweite Muttersprache für mich. Und auch Schweizerdeutsch, normalerweise kann ich auch Schweizerdeutsch verstehen. Yeah, okay, so you can let her know that. Well, when you put a question mark there, your name says Bez Valley. Is it Bees Valley? It's spelled Bez Valley. Okay. Okay. From South Africa. It's been planned for many years. Teresa, my best friend when young had her Swiss niece, and in the Tokai Forest a few years ago, we would never have imagined this in the 1980s. I don't understand what you're talking about, Teresa. Yappy Brand says difficult to move to the U.S. It is difficult to move abroad. It's difficult to relocate anywhere. Cape Town was so awesome, 1970, my old stomping ground. So many great memories, says Tony. Use the black business as a smokescreen. The funds will disappear. Rolf says, I work law enforcement in the U.S. and would love to go back to South Africa, but stuff like this makes me think twice. All my family still lives there and worry about them daily. Rolf, I understand that. Well, thank you for being a Leo. You're a Leo, Rolf. If you don't mind sharing, I'm curious. You don't have to tell us where, but are you in local law enforcement? Are you federal law enforcement? Do you work for the Federal Bureau of Incompetence? Do you work for the Park Police? Do you work for the state troopers? Just curious. You don't have to answer that question. I'm not putting you on the spot. Yeah, let's give a thumbs up on the channel. Yappy says hello. Hello to you. You live in Bez Valley. Okay. Bezuidenhout Valley. Okay, thank you, Chris Marie, for the Afrikaans explanation there. All right, globalists have gutted us. I don't want my children to live here when I'm gone. Who is going to protect them? Teresa, well, we'll try, but we're not expecting you to go anywhere, so let's not rush off, okay? All right, currently we have 238 people, 121 likes, a little bit of super chat revenue. Thank you for that. Again, folks, at this hour, I will reiterate, Donald Trump has announced that he is going to spank South Africa. Yep, the ANC has brought this on themselves. I warned the ANC. I warned South Africa, and in fact, I did a video today. Let's take a look at some of those comments before I go any further. I want to take a look at that. Dear ANC, let's not piss off Donald Trump. I mean, we want to talk about a prophetic, prescient video. A prescient video. I published that video earlier today, and that is exactly what happened later in the day. I did that this morning, and not even, he did this at 5 o'clock. I published at 11 o'clock. So 6 hours after I said, don't piss off Donald Trump, it came. I think Sir Ramaphosa will try to downplay it. He'll either try to ignore it, but he can't ignore it if sanctions come. He'll have to respond. He'll try to ignore it. He'll try to downplay it and say, oh, that's just for the future. We'll be able to work this out. There's nothing to see here. Sean Murphy says ANC takes U.S. aid and then goes against U.S. at every opportunity. On top of that, they back the U.S. enemies. Yep. With 40%, how come the ANC still runs South Africa to the ground? Good question there. Well said, someone. Mr. Trump, we the citizens of South Africa don't see any of the money you supply. Our country's disgrace. Well, actually, that's not true. Veronica, you do see the money that comes there. It doesn't go to the ANC government. It goes to NGOs. But when the NGOs are not handed the money from USAID, when the U.S. government stops taking money out of my pocket and handing it over to non-governmental organizations over here and over here so that they can provide HIV services, antiretrovirals, counseling and testing, voluntary centers for South Africans, those places will either cease to provide services to poor, mostly black South Africans, and then those people go without services, or the government will have to step up. Since the ANC has no money, in fact, right now I probably have more in the form of dollar bills. These are $1. Don't get excited. I'm not rich. I probably have more in the form of $1 bills sitting here in my hand than the ANC can actually cash at the bank right now, given how rapacious they are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Well, I got past 13. I don't want to be superstitious. 14 $1 bills. There you go. That money is no longer coming your way. It won't go to NGOs. It's not going to the government. If there's one country that had a free ride for far too long, it's South Africa. Yep. Everything you say is true, showing the world how the ANC are as soon as a white person speaks out about racism, no matter if it's facts, thanks, the world needs more people like you. Thank you for that. I'll thank you for your upload. Yes, the ANC are screwing up our country, and most of all, its citizens per normal. Go Trump. Glad I came across your channel. Thank you. Well, you're welcome. Crying babies. Do you think Trump is God of South Africa? As far as I can see, he's losing power. He's a racist. Wrong. Okay, wrong. In denial. So there's one that didn't like what I had to post. I said, wrong, live in denial. In South Africa, love Trump. Okay, oops, do you think they're going to listen? Nope, they won't listen. I must share a story which I think was around 2 or 3 years ago. Worked Cape Town frequently, applying back to PE, saw this massive monstrosity over Algoa Bay. Chinese fishing farm. Yep. Oh, no. Chinese. I talk about that. Thank you for your podcast, Chris. Very informative. I enjoy it tremendously. You're very welcome. Hope these black racists listen to this. Well, I don't think they will. I don't think any racists will listen to me because I'm not one. Please, Trump, Ramaphosa needs to be stopped. Anyway, it goes on and on. Really nice, really good comments there. And let's see how that video is doing. So again, it's not the right hour for my videos to pick up any steam that cover South Africa because most South Africans are asleep at this hour. It is 4 a.m. in Pretoria right now. Do you know where your children are? EWC first, pension funds, private medical costs. Yes, yes. Well, Troika, they've already come for firearms. A lot of South Africans have been disarmed because of the illegitimate registration process for firearms that was intentionally set up to be a failure. So when the ANC put this registration requirement into law a few years back, I'm talking well over a decade now, they intentionally did not put the forms at the police station so that people could register their weapons. Thereby, there were no forms, people couldn't register, so they could come later and say that you were a criminal because you had failed to register your privately possessed firearms. It was intentional. Now, they never went around and arrested people en masse because of it, but they set the conditions up so they could come disarm you in the event of an insurrection. Yep. John Steenhuisen is spineless, says Neo Rain. Well, we haven't talked about Steenhuisen tonight, but I don't think you can get many people argue against that. Rhea says, Ramaphosa and his gang leaders don't care at all. The fat cats are all smiling all the way back. It's the people on the ground suffering. You're right, Rhea. You're right. And that's unfortunate. 19-1 says, okay, Trump will cry if Elon leaves us. Huh? ANC members will be Googling soon to find out what's happening so your video will gain views. Well, maybe. Again, look, so this is what happens. People watch the video who have a formed world opinion that is inflexible, who believe what they want to believe, who will glom onto things that fulfill their vision of the world and is self-fulfilling. So that's the norm for a lot of people. And some of my viewers are that way. I'm not going to deny that. But if that gets me views, I'm not going to complain. But the bottom line is, sorry, my chair got stuck. The problem here is that, and I saw this from the very beginning when I started doing this, people would watch my video and go, oh, they see this, right? Because I was cheated out of pigmentation and I therefore am very susceptible to ultraviolet radiation from that blazing hot thing in the sky. No, it's not Joe Biden, it's the sun. And so therefore, I try to stay out of the sun because I was cheated out of skin pigmentation. And because I was cheated out of skin pigmentation, the presumption is, of course, that I must be a racist. I must be pro, this and pro that, or supporter of this, that, and the other. And you get attacked on Twitter. I got attacked for years like this on Twitter. But that's why I didn't do much on Twitter, because it's just a cesspool. And then on YouTube, I experienced it here with the leftists coming attacking me all the time. And they got away with it back then. They pulled all kinds of crap. Yep. Yeah. So you get used to it. But the problem is this. I don't care if you're white. I don't care if you're black. I don't care if you're colored. Actually, I do. I like colors. They're kind of cool people. I know that's a general statement. How can you say 8 million people are cool? There's a bunch of assholes in there, I'm sure. Yeah, but there's a bunch of assholes in every group. But there's a bunch of good people in every group. But I mean, I like the culture of the Cape Coloreds and the Nicklins and others. So I find them interesting, the Rehoboth Bastards. So anyway, but I don't really care what your skin color is. I don't care what your ethnic origin is. I do care if you break the law. I do care if you're a thief. I do care if you're a rapist or a pedo. I do care if you abuse other people. I don't care if you're gay. If that's what floats your boat and you're not doing it with children and you're doing it in the privacy of your own abode, that's your business, none of mine. I do care if you push your sexuality on primary school students, just like I would care if people were teaching heterosexual sex acts to minor children. That I have an issue with. So the problem is that the presumption based on appearance. Well, you can't put me in your shoebox. I'm not your shoebox. I'm also not, because I'm an American, uninformed about Africa. In fact, I'm better informed about Africa than virtually everybody who makes an asinine, stupid comment about my videos on YouTube. Every one of them. I see this all the time. Like I responded earlier. You don't know anything about slums. I don't know about slums. I don't know what it's like to be poor. You know what you're talking about. Presuming I had money or I'm wealthy because of where I'm at now. I'm 60 years old. I busted my ass. I worked my ass off. I put myself in jeopardy. I risked my life multiple times for other people's liberties, other people's freedoms, to protect the world's energy supply, to end terrorism. So, you know what you're talking about. Nico Framak, thank you for your subscription. The problem is that the ANC don't care about punishments. All they do is increase taxes, increase. You're right about that. You're right about that, Yappy. But this is a lot of money. Two-way trade between the U.S. and South Africa is over $20 billion a year. Sometimes 23, 24 billion, sometimes 16 billion. That is the second largest trading bloc for South Africa. It is the second largest. It was historically the largest for decades until 2014 when China surpassed us. and now we're second to China. So you take that out, you lose 1/5 of your trade. 1/5 of your imports are gone, and 1/5 of your exports are gone. Yep, just gone like that. It's gone. Okay, that's not going to hurt you. South Africa's economy is limping along at almost negative growth with a population doing this. And you think that you can afford to lose 20% of your GDP and be down here and be that much further from where the people are now. And that's just the start of it. You think national health insurance is going to work when you lose $500 million a year? Almost all of that goes to healthcare, 400 million of it. You can lose $400 million a year in healthcare that you're not paying for. That's what's missed here. The government of South Africa is not getting this money. It's going to NGOs, third-party partners. All that money goes there. They will no longer have it. So where are they going to go for the money? China? You think the Chinese are going to come up with $400 billion to help HIV in South Africa? Don't hold your breath. You think Russia is? Don't hold your breath. You think the ANC is going to come out? So who's going to suffer? The poor South Africans, predominantly black, who are suffering from HIV. There you go. What do you think of Gate McKenzie? Do you think he's a genuine human being? Oh, yeah, I think Gate McKenzie's probably a mensch, but I don't have no issues with Gayton. Gayton hopefully will be a guest on my program sometime very soon if Rob Hersoff is able to make that happen. He promised that recently in my interview with him on Friday. But I have praised and criticized Gate McKenzie. He's a complicated character. And my issue with Gate McKenzie is he frames too many things in the form of race, which is disappointing. If he would drop that nonsense, I think he'd be a pretty exciting guy. So it's common sense. Thanks for spreading the word, says Rolf. Well, it was my pleasure, Rolf. Thanks for finding my content. It's exciting to see people find it. I've been following you for quite some time now. Thanks for your insights. Anne-Marie Douglas. Well, thank you, Anne-Marie. But you just subscribed. See, that's another thing. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching this program right now and you're not a subscriber, let me explain something. I know South Africans. I don't know if Anne-Marie is a South African, but I know a lot of South Africans are reticent to have an account on YouTube. Let me explain something to you. If you think that you're sitting on your Chinese phone watching my content right now and you're not subscribed and Google doesn't know that it's you or where you're at, not you by name, but your profile as a customer, you're deluding yourself. If you think that because you don't sign up to websites, you aren't tracked and you aren't monetized for use, you're out of touch with reality. So my question is this: why not have a YouTube account? It's free. And why not become a subscriber? Because those who watch my program who don't subscribe, I don't get credit for that. And we've been trying to reach a larger audience, and the more subscribers we have, the easier it is to get big names. I'm going to tell you what. I tried to get Rob Hersoff on the program almost 5 years ago. I think it might have been 4 or 5 years ago. Rob talked about coming on the program. We tried to coordinate it. We've been in touch a few times, and it fizzled out. He was busy doing this, that, and the other. But I suspect, and I didn't ask Rob, but, I also wasn't a big name in South Africa. Oh, bigger than I thought I was. But so, if you're not a big name, then you can't get people. Almondre, is it Whiteman? Thank you, Almondre. It's an interesting given Christian name there, Almondre, given name. But the bigger your subscriber base, the more likely you can get big names to come on your program. Grant Lawrence. I will tell you that since I did the video on Trump last week, I've been having people contact me asking me to interview them. And of late, I've had to hunt people down to interview them. So it's nice to have that. That's why the numbers matter, folks. Mark, thank you, Mark Coxedge. It looks like a lot of people are subscribing right now. Hopefully that's in response to my request. Buy a donkey. Quel beau. I appreciate that. Eric is going back to bed. Here's a thought. Some time ago on a game farm, several billions were found sealed stash furniture. Is it possible that those billions originate from Libya? I don't know about that. Are you talking about Palo Palo, Stephen? It wasn't. It was. If you're talking about Palo Palo, we're talking about $560,000 US. I don't know. Maybe you're talking about something else. Rob also promised Ronaldo a bunch of guests. Oh, he did? When did he talk to Ronaldo? Or did he do that on my program? Or are you saying he promised them guests when he was on Ronaldo a few years ago? Maybe that's what you're saying. So I find Gate McKenzie to be a very interesting fellow. And I think he's a mensch, probably, from what I've seen. The moment I saw the news about Trump cutting aid to South Africa, I had to find you on your channel. So glad you're live. You're welcome, Dave. I was trying to get a nap here, but I happened to roll over and get the news. And I got to go live. So I did a quick video, and that one is on air right now. Shots fired. I like actually the thumbnail. I think I put a pretty good thumbnail together for that one. That one has 640 views, but this time of night, you're not going to see much in the way of views because it is 4:20 in the morning in South Africa. I'm surprised we have this many people with us right now. 252 people. Thank you all for being here. Be sure to hit that like button, folks. It takes nothing but a moment of time. Here's the thing. The more you chat, the more comments you post on my videos,
that was easy.
the more likes or dislikes, for that matter, that you push, the more likely is YouTube will promote the videos. The more it's promoted, the more people get exposed to it, the more people glom on, and the number of subscribers will grow. In fact, will grow, not glow. Hopefully the subscribers don't glow. That would be a nuclear accident, but grow. We are at 26,638 subscribers, and just in December we had 20,000. And we've been doing this for 4 years. Spurgeon Rudman just subscribed. Thank you for that, Spurgeon. Bye donkey. Let me see if it ticks over to 39. It didn't. See, YouTube's always playing games. By the way, I caught YouTube cheating last week. I was watching one of my videos, which was getting likes like this. It was going like this. Likes are coming up. You're watching a little thumb go up while I was watching the video because it goes up live. And I watched it go up at least 20 times. I was counting in the span of about a minute and a half. But only 4 new likes were added. 4. YouTube stole 16 likes from me. Bastards. Anyway, you'll find that my videos get a much higher like ratio than most people's do. Yep, that's it. Every interview he goes on, he promised to get others to come on a show. All right, Arctic. Well, we'll see. We'll see. I will say this, that maybe I'm a shiny penny for the moment, but I'll take Rob at his word. Rob and I have been in contact every day since he first reached me on Friday. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 3 days in a row. That's interesting. Ongisa Damani. Chris has to appoint Trump. Ongisa, I think it's going to be Joel Pollack, who's known and connected, a Jewish American, born in South Africa. His parents immigrated here when he was a kid. He grew up in America. And Joel Pollack, the indicator for me that Joel Pollack will be the ambassador to South Africa was that he was at the California fires brief when Trump went to California and talked to Karen Bass, the clueless wonder, and all the people present there, including representatives like Darrell Issa and state representatives and firefighters. And Joel Pollack was in the room. That, to me, was a tip-off. Plus, he's posted something online. So, yeah, maybe Joel Pollack is the one that's informing Trump and not Elon Musk. I don't know. I think there are a lot of us who have had family murdered on their properties. My father-in-law was murdered on his farm, KZN. I'm sorry to hear that, slow puppy. That's how they convince you to stash dollars in your couch. But you know what? Just because I'm not appointed ambassador to South Africa doesn't mean that the Trump administration couldn't appoint me to do something else in South Africa. Yep. Troika says, love Joel. He takes no crap. Well, I don't like or dislike Joel. I know that I reached out to Joel Pollack a few years back before he published his book. And here it is right here, Red November in 2022. Before he published this book, I reached out and he didn't return my message. I guess I wasn't important enough. And see, that's the other thing, folks. There are people who will talk to people just because they care about the truth and sharing things. So, for instance, Dr. Victor Davis Hanson has been a guest on my program 3 times. When I asked him to come on my program initially, I didn't have that many followers. I think I was like 12,000 or something like that. And I asked him to come on the program. He came on the program. No questions asked. Came on for an hour. And then he was much in demand after that. He came on for a half hour the next time and 15 minutes the third time, I think it was. But he came on just because, but there are people that won't come on unless it does something for them. For Dr. Hanson, that did nothing. Kevin Sorbo, I met him at the CPAC conference, and Kevin promised to come on my program, mostly because his brother was a lieutenant colonel in the Army, and I was a full colonel in the Army, and he felt that he should follow through when he made that promise. So Kevin came on my program, and we had a great interview, and he followed through. I appreciate people who will follow through and will do things when it's not based on what it does for them. Trust me, the tens of thousands of dollars that I've spent traveling to South Africa on my multiple trips since 2022 to report on South Africa, to meet my viewers, to hold meet and greets, to travel around, to film documentaries, I have received a fraction of that money back in the form of super chats and ad revenue. It's not about that. I'm not doing it for those reasons. I'm trying to make a difference. Do I like it when famous people call me? Yeah, it's okay. No complaint about it. Do I like it when I'm well known? That's pretty cool. I will freely admit one thing, ladies and gentlemen. I will freely admit one thing. It is super cool to walk down the streets of Parle and have a gentleman come over and say, aren't you the rugby guy? Aren't you that colonel? Yeah, that's me. Oh, my daughter and I love to watch your program. It is cool to be in Eiserfontein in the middle of frickin' nowhere on the west coast of the Western Cape and have someone come up and go, hey, I watch your show. I don't even know who they are. That's cool. I look, okay. Does it stroke my ego? No. I just think it's really cool for people that you don't know, but know you all over the world. It's fascinating. I absolutely love that part. And that's been the most rewarding part of this for me. I met really wonderful people and hung out with them. Look at Hendo. Hendo's a stud, man. Where's he? He must be sleeping for once. Hendo is an awesome guy. I love Hendo. And Erica's a lovely person. She gets a lot of crap, but she's a lovely person. Fiona, lovely people. Dylan's a nice guy. He's been handed some crap in life, and he just keeps on plugging away. So many nice people. The Mybergs. So many cool people, and it's really big. I'll even admit, even Ronaldo's okay, you know. But I've met some really interesting people. Koketso Retsani, Dumadenga, really nice people. Joseph Lehman met with Lord Robin Renwick and the Chatham House. I don't know. I wasn't there. Why wouldn't guests like Thomas McInerney be a guest in your show? You talking about the General McInerney, Holden? You're setting me up for a question I can't answer. C-Team Trading, here in South Africa, all my kids abroad love your channel. Oh, cool. All right, well, that's awesome. Elon has too much going on with Doge to be ambassador. No, Elon's not going to be ambassador to South Africa, no. Hoping to get someone who knows how to use a very big stick and isn't afraid to use it. Arctic says he's a butthole, but he bribes me. True, ladies and gentlemen, in the interest of full disclosure, Arctic, when he's not busy drinking a fifth of scotch, flying a plane, is busy bribing me with druvos. Sloth Puppy says, Colonel, you've called it from the very beginning. It is rural insecurity and number of factors. Yep. I got to say that tariffs on Canada make me nervous, but I guess Trump knows. Look, Dave, I don't expect the tariffs on Canada to last very long. I don't. In fact, I hope they would go away. But Trudeau's resignation will open a window up for Canada and the U.S. to pull back from this. I think that's what's going to happen. Sandra Hanekom says, thank you, Chris, for the continuously propagating a greater insight to South Africa, both here in South Africa and in USA. Victor Davis Hansen is my hero, brilliant historian. He is. And I got to get him back on the program here. I really got to get him back on the program. I was supposed to get him on January last year, and it just didn't happen, December last year, so I've got to reach out again. Onagisa says, Victor Davis is great. Chris, try to get H.R. McMaster. Yeah, I don't have any contact with H.R. McMaster. And a lot of people have turned a little sour on H.R. McMaster. H.R. McMaster was at Leavenworth as a field grade officer when I was a company grade officer, and he wrote stuff. Was he the one who wrote Breaking the Phalanx, which became quite famous? I think it was McMaster. Yeah, McMaster's an interesting guy. I would much rather get... who's the colonel that the analyst everybody loves? Anyway, Trump and Ramaphosa should fight it on UFC. Christo says, what will we do without YouTube and coffee? This time of the morning, greetings out of Cape Town. I don't know. I don't drink coffee. It's an evil substance invented by Satan to enslave mankind. Koketso is a wine-drinking monster. I don't know about that. So you will love it and have it. So you will love it to have me on your show. I'll consider it, says Francois. Huh? Not sure what you're talking about there, Francois. Are you going to share some of the Bordeaux wine with us? All right. So let's go back. I'm going to cover the events now for anybody tuning in at this hour. What's this? Creators adopted live automated mid-rolls. No, dismiss that. I don't need that message. Okay. So let me just run through the news again, folks. We're going to play these again for you. And let me get this up very quickly. Cyril. Come on. Where's it at? Okay.
And we've
been saying, leave South Africa alone. It's ours. I don't know why Donald Trump cares about South Africa. It's ours. Leave it alone. You keep your America. We'll keep South Africa. Okay, buddy. All right, you say so. All right, so I'm going to put this back on the screen because I'm not showing the video so I don't get accused of stealing their content. Anyway, so this is Trump's tweet from a few hours ago now. And it's still not caught on in the press internationally. It's starting to catch on now, but I guarantee you within a few hours you'll hear it everywhere. What's your opinion of Senate confirmation hearings? Kabuki theater, Dave. Kabuki theater. All I have to say is that Kash Patel, Pete Hegseth, Kristi Noem, these people have acquitted themselves very well, but it's all just a joke. Chris, this is the best news ever for all South Africans of all color and sexes, says Razor. I think that could be the truth. We'll see. We'll see what the ANC's reaction is. All right, here we go. This is Donald Trump's tweet from a few hours ago. It says 6:19. That's now 3 hours and 10 minutes ago. But that was an update. So he did a little over 4 hours ago. And this is what Cyril had to say in 2018 about Donald Trump and expropriation without compensation.
And we've been saying, for this issue of the land, this issue that Donald Trump fears so much, we offer this question of the land. I don't know what Donald Trump has to do with South African land.
Donald Trump doesn't have anything to do with South African land, you deuce. Donald Trump does recognize that South Africa is a signatory of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and that Section 25 of your Constitution guarantees compensation for expropriation. You are a recipient of generous access to the African Growth and Opportunity Act, which you have no right to be in. That's what he has to do with the land in South Africa. So if you're that stupid, Cyril, go back to stuffing money in your sofa.
Because he's never been here. And he must keep his America. We will keep our South Africa.
Oh, we will keep our South Africa. You keep it right down the toilet tubes.
And what he must do. South Africa is our land. South Africa belongs to all the people who live here in South Africa. It does not belong to Donald Trump. He can keep his America. And Ene is even worse. He's even worse. When I meet him, I will tell him.
Oh, this should be good. Okay, what are you going to tell him, Cyril?
I'll say, you, Donald Trump, you are even worse because your forebears came to America.
Survey says wrong. Donald Trump's grandparents immigrated to America. He's a recent immigrant from German immigrants less than a century ago. You're a dumbass. Shut up, deuce.
They found the indigenous Americans. They wiped them out. They killed nearly all of them.
What sounds a lot like the Nguni-speaking peoples crossing the Zambezi and Limpopo River 1,600 years ago.
Rine, we are living as a nation, and black and white, we are going to find solutions for our land question. So Donald Trump must leave us alone.
Well, Donald Trump is going to leave you alone. He's going to suspend your access to AGOA. He's going to impose sanctions on you, and he's going to end all foreign assistance. So Donald Trump will leave you alone, Cyril. Merry Christmas, Cyril. You got what you asked for. Donald Trump will leave you alone. He must leave us alone. And look at these cackling idiots cheering it on. Absolute nonsense. So that's not the end of it. Donald Trump at Andrews Air Force Base a few hours ago after he landed there. And this came across on Fox News. Let me get this up over here. This is what Donald Trump had to say a couple of hours ago on Fox News when asked about sanctions, because people start freaking out. You mean on Africa? You're sanctioning Africa? What are you, a racist? Oh, it's not Africa. It's just South Africa. This is what he had to say. This is what he had to say. Excuse me.
So you said that you were going to cut aid from South Africa. Will you plan to cut aid across other African nations, and why South Africa?
No, it's only South Africa. Terrible things are happening in South Africa. The leadership is doing some terrible things. It's horrible things. So that's under investigation right now. We'll make a determination. And until such time as we find out what South Africa is doing, they're taking away land, they're confiscating land, and actually they're doing things that are perhaps far worse than that.
And on the back.
So that's Donald Trump on the tarmac at Andrews Air Force Base in suburban Maryland just a few hours ago, explaining what's happening to South Africa. What we do know at this hour is that Trump in his tweet said he will suspend future aid to South Africa. What does that mean? Well, no money for a host of programs, a whole bunch of programs in communications and business development, in health sector across the board going forward, and suspension of participation in the President's Emergency Program for AIDS relief 22 years after South Africa became eligible for it, and the handouts given, which have totaled $8.1 billion. Ladies and gentlemen, that's 150 billion rand. 150 billion rand that your government didn't have to shell out to take care of South Africans dying from HIV, those trying to get condoms, those trying to learn about being safe sex partners. Yeah, that was all paid for by the American taxpayer for the past 22 years. That's over. Now, the money that's allocated this year, which was all in question just a few weeks ago, will continue. That's a matter of public law. They'll continue that money most likely. I don't think that's going to cease. If it does, I'll be shocked. But I'm just saying, I'm predicting based on the law, based on my analysis, based on my experience, that money will continue. And that what will probably happen, because he said more is coming. So probably tomorrow morning you'll wake up to find that Donald Trump will put sanctions on South Africa and or at a minimum suspend them from AGOA. It's coming your way, ladies and gentlemen. And I warn South Africans, and what do I get for it? I get abused by a lot of people. A lot of people appreciate what we're doing here, and I thank you for that. I appreciate all those who become subscribers to the channel, those who super chat, those who become members, those who spread the word around. In fact, that Trump video, let me tell you something about that Trump video. Let me go back to that very quickly here. The Trump video that's done so well, that's got me back on the map here, finally, after 4 years in the gulag, thanks to YouTube. That video, the statistics on that, external. Okay, that number is in the last 48 hours, 57.6% of the views have come from external sources. What that means is that since my video has been published 3 days ago, people watched it, and then those who have large followings on social media, particularly on Twitter, I saw Sir Alfred Carbonara, whoever that guy's, they have been tweeting about my video, and that's been sending viewers to my channel, 57%. So only 14% are coming from browsing and 13%. So only 25% of the current views coming in the last 48 hours have been from YouTube. 57 have been from external sources. But across the entire length of that, the first 90,000 or so were people that are on YouTube, and it was YouTube recommending it. So of that, YouTube recommendations, 59% have come with the total from YouTube. But now the numbers, because people reposting it. So thank you for that. What's this? What did Arctic say? Sorry. Okay. So, and that one's almost at 170,000 views. Let me see if it's hit 170,000 yet. No, it's close, 169 plus, and hopefully it'll pick up here once people wake up. So yeah. Okay. Let me go back over here. Penguins flipping in the wind. What are you talking about? Okay. Riser says, Chris, I hope you and Ronaldo are able to get back on track without barriers. You're both legends. Frank de Villiers, Oxford, just subscribed. Buy a donkey, Caleb Boy. So, Riser, what do you mean Ronaldo and I get back on track without barriers? I don't understand that. Ronaldo and I have been doing Wednesdays with the Colonel since he came back online. We do that every Wednesday. I'm not sure what's going on. What do you mean? What did I miss? Is there something I don't know about? If Ramaphosa burst into flames, I wouldn't. You wouldn't piss on him, says Trico. And the people are cheering. Ramaphosa was a shop steward and unionist, became a billionaire overnight. Well, yeah, exactly. How'd that happen? The cancer's response will be simply that the West is evil. Hello, China. Here, have some land. Well, they've already done that, but yeah, you're right. Yappy says, Ramaphosa prat now net via cock. Okay. Cyril is about to learn what happens to frogs in boiling water. I see no difference between you and Cyril Ramaphosa. Huh? Who are you talking about, Vulgar? What do you think the impact of isolation will be coming concerning South Africa's security in terms of Mozambican border? I don't think it'll be a whole lot. South Africa has the ability to patrol its border with Mozambique if it wants to. It's not an issue. So I'm not really sure what you mean. Just the other day, Ramaphosa said Trump a great deal maker, and he's a great deal maker. Looks like Ramaphosa is sucking up right now. Well, it didn't work, did it, Dave? It didn't work. He said it at Davos, but it didn't work. See, Ramaphosa talks out his mouth. I'm sorry, I can't tell the difference. He talks out his mouth saying one thing and doing something completely different. He was at Davos, and he talked about yada, yada, yada. And what does he do at Davos? He pulls out a pen, and he signs expropriation without compensation, an unconstitutional act into law. He signs it right there in Davos, in front of the cameras, while saying that, South Africa is open for business. It's not open for business. You're stealing. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. They're stealing. Cyril's going to crap off, and BRICS aren't coming to help. You're correct. Tessa, the South Africa bladesmith. Okay, the South Africa bladesmith, man. Chris, is it true that load shedding has started again? Yes, it's true, Riser. It has started. Load shedding started this weekend. I did a video on that. Again, people not watching my content. It's frustrating. Where's the load shedding video at? There it is right there. Let me get a link. So I did that on the 31st, and I did a video on load shedding. Here you go. Boom. So open up a tab and save that for later, and check that video out when you have a chance after this broadcast. Yeah, so I did that video, and that didn't do particularly well. I don't think we even got 10,000 subscribers, or 10,000 views. I got 89 subscribers from it, though, but 8,800 views. So not incredible, but not bad. So thank you for that. But yeah, can't we just have one world leader? No, Yappy, we don't want one world leader. That's not good. People are different, and polities need to be governed in different fashions. So, Trump will miss the rooibos tea. I've already stocked up. I've got more rooibos tea than I can drink in 3 years here. Just a thought, says Jakes. If white South Africans go to a clinic as they can't afford it at the doors, they get turned away and say they don't help whites. Yeah, that happens. A lot of white South Africans go for sausage grants and get turned away, which is illegal. You serious? Okay. No, okay, Riser. Okay, first off, do you believe anything the ANC tells you? That it's over? First off, and I covered this extensively in that video. I talked about the fact, and I also talked about my video about South Africa and the U.S. relations, about how the ANC, how stupid they are. So look, it goes beyond PEPFAR and it goes beyond AGOA. It also goes to many other things. For instance, even when we're not giving aid, we are helping South Africans. So Power Africa, which is something that Obama started, and he claimed that it developed electricity in Africa. That's a disingenuous claim. What Power Africa does is it brings U.S. technical experts and financiers together to help African countries get deals with providers in China and elsewhere to install energy capacity across Africa. And they help line up financing for it and grants. They help line up the buyers. They're a middleman. They bring everybody together and help get the deal closed for free. Nobody pays for it. That's a pretty good deal. So Power Africa has been responsible for over 3 gigawatts of electricity generated in South Africa in the past few years. On top of that, South Africans who are hot full of the ANC and Eskom have went out, those who could afford it, and put solar panels all over their roofs. That solar installation in residential primarily, but also in small businesses and shopping malls and schools and retirement homes has led to 3 gigawatts plus of power that no longer needs to come off the grid when there's solar coming down. So that 3 gigawatts and this 3 gigawatts have formed 6 gigawatts of power, half of which has been courtesy of the American taxpayer to reduce the demand on the grid. And the ANC acts like, well, we've got this under control. Cogent Ramacopa has got it all solved. At the Copacabana, the hottest spot south of Havana. Yeah, that's because he likes to dance funny. Yeah, Ramacopa and the ANC talking about how they've solved Eskom. They didn't solve Eskom. You know, if you need 4,000 calories a day to survive, and you get older and your metabolism slows down, and you only need 3,000 calories a day, you haven't saved anything. You just have less demand. Your body doesn't demand as much. But a growing economy will have an ever-increasing appetite for energy. That's not the case in South Africa. That is not the case in South Africa. All you have to do is look at energy consumption, see where it's at, and see what's going on in the South African economy. Lower energy consumption means less economic activity. Less economic activity means lower GDP growth. Lower GDP growth means more unemployment because the population is increasing faster than GDP is. And it is a perfect recipe for chaos, which is what South Africa's in. You're in the cock. You're in the crap. It's great to know that Trump is investing what the hell the ANC is doing in the economy. Huh? So the U.S. turning their back on South Africa will be a slow process of depreciation of point of no return because South Africa's government will not change their stance. I don't know about slow, Bianca. It could be very fast. Trump has announced no future funding, so that will be after this fiscal year ends. And if he finds a legitimate reason to suspend it sooner, he'll do that. And I suspect that tomorrow he'll probably announce the suspension of Africa Growth and Opportunity Act excess, which will not affect South Africans immediately or directly. But it will affect South African producers eventually. Many of them will just have to eat the extra 2% excise duty. So the ANC will just shrug it off. Go, so what? And it will hurt South African businesses like Constantia, which ships wines to the United States. Now, the wine that they send here will cost 2% more. But 2%, they can probably eat that for a producer like that. And then if he puts sanctions in South Africa, that's going to be bad news because a lot of the BMW parts manufactured in the Eastern Cape come to the United States. And that 25% will make them less competitive against BMW parts manufactured in Europe, which will come here. Yep. Okay, what else? Good morning. So Trump does know where South Africa is? Drop in a bucket. It doesn't matter if Trump knows where South Africa is. It really isn't germane. It doesn't matter. He's not the one executing the policy. And if he trusted people around him, then it's good to go. They don't have to change their stance. All they have to do is do nothing. After reform and others will challenge it in court and the ANC don't oppose, it will disappear. Exactly, Arctic. That's the other thing. That's the other thing. It could just disappear that way. Future aid to South Africa stopped. Hilarious. Why is that hilarious, Jan? I'm sure you have a point there. Please share. Okay. Okay. Still load shedding it. Respect is earned, not given. Exactly right. Load shedding stopped this morning. It started on the app, but not sure if it's every weekend. Safari Bladesmith, based in West Palm Beach, Florida now. Okay, thank you for that, Safari. West Palm Beach, Florida. You can have Florida, man. No thanks. What Holden says, what about Secretary of State mentioning State Department officials still in Afghanistan? I didn't hear about that. I've been busy focusing on this. Sorry, Holden. Tell me a little bit more about it. There are no cats, no dogs in the taxi ranks because they're going to make steak pies. Load shedding suspended. Yeah, the weekend's over in South Africa. It's Monday now. They said for the weekend. I can smuggle enough rooibos tea for the last 2 years. Bianca says, all this is a time-sensitive matter. We witnessed how quickly Trump acts, and we know how long our legal process usually take. Maybe that's my greatest concern. Bianca, once again, please, South Africa, if you're listening to me, if you know a member of parliament from whatever party, I don't care. If you know a member of parliament, I implore you to contact Dr. Peter Groenewald and the Freedom Front Plus and ask them to accelerate the process of getting that letter signed by 132 members of the parliament, sending it to the Constitutional Court. This can all end very quickly. Very quickly. It can all be amicable and be resolved. But the clock is ticking. The clock is ticking. It's time to galvanize. Yep. Let me see. That'll probably give me a copyright claim later on. It's time to galvanize, folks. That's right, the Chemical Brothers. It is time to galvanize. It is time to galvanize parliamentarians in South Africa, get off their ample backsides and go file a Section 80 appeal to the Constitutional Court and get it done now. Stop sitting around collecting a paycheck, eating your crisp or your chips, or hanging out at the coffee bar, and go do your job to protect South Africans. You've been told, shots fired, shots fired. Why don't you invite Colonel Douglas McGregor? Oh, McGregor, that's the one I'm thinking of for a chat. Very wise. Yeah, that's the guy a lot of people have lost a lot of confidence in, supposedly because of his predictions on Ukraine. But he was pretty much spot on in Ukraine early on. I don't follow Doug McGregor much. I don't know him. If somebody could put me in touch with him, I'd love to get in touch with him. You know, I've been asked that so many times, so let me just look it up. And I don't have any contact for him. So hang on a second. I need to open a new tab here. There we go. Okay, Doug McGregor. Yeah, you guys all act like, it's just like a piece of cake, But I mean, look, imagine this. If you're an ANC official waking up at 4:48 in the morning and you look at your phone and Trump has just turned off assistance to South Africa, and you're going, oh, crap. +1 202. You've reached the Department of State switchboard. For English, push 1. Para Español, marque 2. Hello, whom would you like to speak to? If you know the extension of the party you want, push that number now. I'm sorry. There's no one at that number. Try that again. The person you're trying to reach no longer works at the State Department. Oh! That's the ANC at this hour. So FBB 1964. Extreme Islam is creeping in. I don't agree with that. Hendo, welcome. You missed all the action, brother. You're 2 hours late. Yeah. My appendix almost burst and was shown away from Port Shepstone Public Hospital and was taken to private hospital, leaving me with a heavy bill. That's unfortunate, Yappy. That's unfortunate. But it's probably saved your life. Imagine them using rusty knives in the public hospital. By April 2025, you'll need a visa to visit Namibia. That is correct. I already need a visa to go to the UK. Can you imagine, as an American, my ancestors came from England and founded this country, and I have to have a visa to go back to England? Yeah, it's not a visa, but it's an electronic authorization, it's a visa just the same. So starting January 6th this year, I have to have a visa to go to the United Kingdom. There's a fine comeuppance. I think we should reciprocate and make them have one to come here. Solar tax, I'm not familiar with that one. Swapo is a bunch of commies, yep. Whoops, what's going on? Sorry, my chat jumps here. Come back here. Well, there it is. Oh, that was the appendix. Amanda Ruiz is here. Hey, welcome, Amanda. Actually, I don't think Klaus Schwab owns them. I think Beijing owns Cyril. No idea what energy freedom looks like anymore. Yeah, that's right, Arctic. Don't see the sanctions harming the ANC at all. They don't care about screwing up the economy. Well, they will. You see, it goes beyond what I talked about. So I've only scratched the surface. I did some other videos. So I talked about AGOA. I talked about PEPFAR, all foreign assistance. I also talked about other impact. But what I haven't talked about is the influence of the United States in international fora. You see, South Africa got its $4.3 billion from the IMF and World Bank in 2020 because of the U.S. We interceded on their behalf. We interceded on their behalf when Trump was president to get them that money, which they stole. Where'd that money go? Why am I the only person in South Africa asking that question? Where is the $4.3 billion from the IMF and World Bank from the summer of 2020? Where is the $285 million from the African Development Bank and the $1 billion from the BRICS Bank? Even the BRICS Bank gave the money. Where's that money at? What's with the macadamia nuts coming up again? That's the second time that came up. ANC purchased the sun. You got to pay for solar. Have you seen the value of the dollar? No, I haven't. What's the value of the Canadian dollar right now? Let's go there. OAN. Go to my currency converter. There we go. Where's that? Where's the currency at? Tools. Oh, come on. That's not what I want. They changed their website. So OAN. Okay. Currency converter. There we go. All right. Oh, is that the historical one? I like that better. Oh, here we go. This is better. Oh, that's the one I want right there. Let me save that bookmark. This is the format I want. Okay, cool. So here's the, we'll do the Canadian in a second, but right now let's show you what the South African is. This is the interbank rate, okay? The current interbank rate. And this is what it looks like right now, okay? So $1 US is 18.65 Rand, although someone said 19 earlier, but that's the interbank rate, okay? Interbank, preview interbank rate. All right, so there you go. Now let's change that to Canadian dollar, okay? And see, where's Canada at? Come on. There it is, Canadian dollar. $1.45. Woo! Look at that, man. Jump 2 cents. 2 cents. It's going to get worse. Going to get worse. Yep. Going to get worse. Well, now's the time for me to travel, assuming people don't block my travel coming to their country. Because of Trump dollar shedding. Okay. ANC talks about the renewal, but it sounds like Cyril, Lusufi, and Mabula are going nowhere. Yep. What's your take on the pipe dream? It is a pipe dream. It is a pipe dream, Bev Kruger. It's the ANC's talk of renewal. It's all nonsense. It's just for domestic consumption for their voters, but they're idiots. There's no renewal here. They're just thieves. Old King Red, it won't be suspended for long. What won't be suspended? Sanctions means the Rand dollar goes to crap, so the ANC boys can't go on holiday in Dubai. Yep. Never trust a commie. Francois said, I applaud you, Colonel, for your concern what you do for Safas to get the truth out there. You're very welcome, Francois, and thank you for being a subscriber. And thanks to the 271 people currently here at this hour, tuned in for this program to listen to what's going on in South Africa. Look, I had no intention. I had a 3-hour broadcast, 3.5-hour broadcast earlier, and I was knackered. I took a little nap, got up, and looked over, and this had just happened. Trump had just posted on Truth Social. It popped up on my feed. And so I had to go live. I seem to remember that several people in the State Department were left behind Afghanistan withdrawal. Holden, okay, you're just now answering that. You asked that question a long time ago. I'm not aware of any Americans being left behind that were State Department personnel. I'm aware of people who had American passports who were left behind. That's true. Johan Brits, but that's Joe Biden. All these years taking part in solidarity is going to pay off soon. Okay, Johan, I'm not sure how, but thank you for that. They're coming for your children. They definitely don't wake up early. Louis von Score was a legend, says Volger. Okay. And it jumped again on me. Hang on. Hang on a second. Okay, there we go. And then Old King says, thank you, sir, for your channel. Found it recently. Very educational. Keep up the awesome work. You're very welcome, Old King, right? For those who don't know, look, I mean, you got 280 people here. So I'm going to do this, okay? Because some of you are new, and I ask for the indulgence of my long-term viewers, okay? I was asked someone sent a message on a platform that I don't use. I've locked my account there because I don't like the platform. I only use it in desperation. And the lady asked me if she could know more about me and my biography, okay? So I'm not going to put my biography up on the screen, but I am going to tell you very quick a little bit about myself because a lot of people don't know where I'm coming from. First off, you get the bigots, the racists, the coffee table analysis clowns that look at the screen and go, oh, he's an American. What does he know? Okay, first off, that's bigotry. I can be an American. I can know everything under the sun. We invented space travel. We invented aviation. We invented railroads. We invented all this stuff. Anyway, the list goes on and on. So I can be an American, know a lot of things. That's number one. Number two, he's white. Oh, so that doesn't mean I don't know anything about other people who don't look like me. That's stupid. Oh, he's just a typical American. He only speaks one language. And I speak 6 languages to varying degrees of proficiency, 3 of them fluently, used to be 4 fluently. So you know what you're talking about. Oh, by the way, some of those are African languages. Yeah, that's right. Anyway, so I have background experience in so many fields because of my acquisitive nature. Growing up in poverty, all I had was books at the library and school that I could look and read. So I did. I became fascinated by geography, culture, languages, wanted to see the world, go everywhere and see everything. And I've been doing that my entire life. And as an intelligence professional, so I spent time in the Army. As an intelligence professional, 36 and a half years in the Army, by the way. Retired, started as a private, and went back to university, became a lieutenant, retired as a full colonel, the highest rank I could go in my career field. And I was stationed in Germany 3 times during the Cold War, at the end of the Cold War. And so I was there as a private, a sergeant, a lieutenant, a captain, and a lieutenant colonel later on. I served in Bad Kreuznach in Rheinland-Pfalz. Then I served in Gelnhausen in Hanau in Hesse. And then later in Baden-Württemberg in Stuttgart at the Africa Command. I served a tour of duty in Italy. And I was the senior counterintelligence official in all of Southern Europe for the United States Army, which is kind of a big deal. It used to be a lieutenant colonel, but when I did it, it had been downgraded just to captain, but the responsibility hadn't been downgraded. So it was quite a load. I did that. And then I also, in the intelligence service, which is highly unusual, most intelligence officers have 1 or 2 specialties. I had a bunch. I was a tactical intelligence officer, which is what all intelligence officers are. Then I qualified as a counterintelligence agent, and I did that. Did counterintelligence, counterterrorism for the United States, abroad and at home. And then later became a signals intelligence officer, worked at the National Security Agency. I was a strategic intelligence officer at the Defense Intelligence Agency. So those are all specialties I had. I did undergraduate work in history. And I did postgraduate work. My first master's program was at Iowa State University. It was in international development studies, very unusual for an Army officer. I did international development studies with 3 subject areas: international political economy, which introduced me to international politics and economics, how they tie together. And then also did community and regional planning. A regional planner, that's what leftists do, but I did it as a conservative. And then cultural anthropology, which I put the 3 of those things together with a focus on Africa. And my thesis was on the housing subsidy program for South Africa that was being implemented at the time in 1995. So I have that master's work. Then I later went to master's program for international relations with Troy University. I have a master's degree from there. I have another master's degree from the Army War College of Strategic Studies. I'm a published author in academic circles, and now I'm losing viewers who are bored. We went from 280 to 266. This is why I don't do this very often, but a lot of people here don't know anything about me, so I'm just trying to share it real quick. As I said, I speak varying degrees of proficiency or understand 6 languages, and there's a couple other that I know enough about, but I don't really mention those. But anyway, published author in academic circles, been published by Stellenbosch University and also by the Army War College. In Popular Press, I'm published just this week on the Daily Friend. For those who don't know, if anybody can get that Daily Friend article over, let me see if I can find that real quick. Daily Friend, that's Daily Maverick, not Daily Friend. Okay, come on. There we go. DAIL, Daily Friend. There we go, Daily Friend. Yeah, although they've not featured my article, it got buried under some other stuff. Let me see if I can find it. Authors, I'm not listed. Not listed there. Let me see. I guess I have to look for Chris Wyatt. There we go. Because they don't feature me. I'm not one of their regular authors. So, okay, search. Come on. There we go. That's not right. It's not even. Why can't I find my articles? What the hell? Did they take my articles down? That's weird. Okay, what's going on with Daily Friend? I don't like the way that's set up. Let me go back here. Sorry, folks. So I interrupted what I was doing just to go through this. Let me see. Opinions. That's where it was at. Opinions. Okay. There it is. Trump. Oh, that's not me. That's Trump versus freedom. They used the same picture. It was 29 January. So Donald Trump's consequential first day. There you go. Okay, that's my most recent one on the Daily Friend. So published author. I'm a guest on multiple programs in the States. I've been doing YouTube I've had an account since 2006 or thereabouts, but been doing it since 2020. So there you go. Anyway, that's enough about me. Multiple combat tours, yada, yada, yada. DA is definitely going to care about this, going to cry. Oh, yeah, we're going to hear, the DA is just going to come freaking out tomorrow. Oh, Donald Trump is so evil. And I will tell you this, if that's what the DA says, then I'm going to really go off on the DA. And you're welcome, Old King Red. Apparently you need a visa just to catch a connecting flight in UK now. That's correct. That's correct. You need the electronic approval. It's not a visa. I know a young Air Force man who was at the Afghanistan debacle, bombs, bullets. Yeah, well, that's terrible. They will care. It's a standard funding they loot often. Teresa said, did anyone see the huge meteor that glided across Scarborough? No, I didn't hear about that. Stephen Vike is here. It's in Cyril's couch. Remember this? What else you got here? Here's the interesting part of that money. It was never spent in South Africa. It was even through corrupt tenders. We've seen the economy grow just 1/4, but the money was spent offshores. Yep. Yeah, that's what happens to so much of this money. That's an African tradition. Steal the money at home and put it in banks overseas. The value of the Canadian dollar on the web, 69 cents. That's way down. It was parity. I mean, the Canadian dollar was actually worth more than the U.S. dollar just a few years ago, sadly. Home office, the coal plants got nothing on the shacks burning. Well, they were burning painted rocks because they sold painted rocks mixed in with coal. It's crazy. Start this blue money in South Africa. Yeah, blue money. There you go. Just do an About Me video and pin it on your channel. I did that before Arctic. Yep. But I will do it again. Okay. Gabriel says 4 a.m. going to bed. Well, thank you for being here, Gabriel. A lot of people. So will the Cape Penguins be safe? Respected resume. Thank you, Dirk Dupree. Please stay active exposing corrupt South Africa. We need people like you. Well, I've been trying, but I need subscribers. I need viewers. We need the attention. We need people to flock to this channel. Saved 640. Oh, I forgot about that, Tony. Thank you very much about that. See, so yeah, when I worked at the Defense Intelligence Agency, I wrote a presidential daily brief, an intelligence report for the president about a looming famine in Southern Africa. As a consequence of my effort, which overcame resistance from the Central Intelligence Agency, who didn't like other people playing in their pond, 640,000 black Africans didn't starve to death when I worked there. Yep, that's a fact. It's a fact. Several internet resumes, Chris. Yeah, there are some of me on the internet. That's true. How do you remember all your achievements? I don't, Andre. I just forgot about the 640,000 people. I don't. Well, I keep a CV. I have a CV, and so there are some of your videos on YouTube from your presentations. Yeah, there are, Bianca. There's from the Trade with Africa Summit in Chicago. That's on there. I don't think the energy in Africa speaks things are up, but the one from the Army War College is up. That was a pretty good one. Yeah, I like that one. Bianca says, so Christopher, boneless chickens are actually more useful than the DA. De Villiers Cooks says, the only people suffering are us living from check to check. Most don't see that aid, but he fucked our economy. Yeah, no, they don't, because the aid doesn't go to you. It goes to NGOs who help people suffering from HIV and the healthcare sector. And most people that watch this program probably aren't benefiting from public clinics and private clinics, NGOs where that goes, because you just don't go to those places. As far as the 2%, I think a lot of manufacturers, a lot of producers in South Africa can eat the 2% from AGOA, so losing AGOA won't be the end of the world. And I'm not claiming it is. I'm like, oh my God, South Africa lost AGOA. I'm just telling you, you're going to lose AGOA, and it will hurt. So, yes, load shedding is back, Ongisa Damani. It's back. It never went away. They called it load reduction, but it's the same thing. It's just localized. Can't tell you how titillated I get when the colonel talks about building effective military forces in troubled nation states like Pennsylvania, our future warlord. Look, I built militaries. Like you say, that's another thing. How many people can tell you that, especially on YouTube, how many people on YouTube have built an army? I built an army. Now, not single-handedly. I had people work for me, and I had a budget of hundreds of millions of dollars. Not all of which was available to me at the time, but I designed, led, reformed, and achieved success building the Armed Forces of Liberia. Yep. Actually got an award for that. Where's that damn award at? Hang on a second. Let's see if it's in here. No, it's in the other one. There it is. It was a bit tardy coming, about 15 years late, but the government of Liberia honored me last year with the Distinguished Service Order in gold from the Ministry of Defense. And this is number 23. Only 23 of these awards have ever been handed out in the history of Liberia. That's really cool, and I'm very grateful for that. I busted my tail in Liberia for these folks. So that's pretty cool. Yep. Yep. So that is a really cool award. Man, that's really awesome. I really appreciate that. But yep. So I don't keep these all in one place, but just in case you're curious about media credentials, this is mostly rugby ones, but not exclusively. So here's some of my media credentials. There's the Dallas Jackals, rugby media credential for 2022. Here's Washington Old Glory team. They were doing individual game credentials. That's February 18th, 2022. This is the National Convention in South Africa for the media. That's for the multi-party charter at Emperor's Palace in Kempton Park. Here's the Houston SaberCats media credentials. They gave me staff, which was really nice. I got full access. Here's the Conservative Political Action Convention in Tampa, Florida. There you go. I covered that up so you can't see it. That's my credentials when I was there at CPAC. Here's an Old Glory Field Pass, and here's another Old Glory. So there's just a handful of my media credentials. I've been accredited with the government of South Africa as a journalist and with many others. So, yeah. Now, none of that means a whole lot. Chris Holmes got the Tries Hard award in primary school. Yeah, a lot of people get that award. NGOs are owned by people like George Soros. I don't know about that. Time to get some sleep, says Bianca. All right, have a good night there, Bianca. Thank you for being here. All right, Chris, cry beste verordnung. Okay. Why are you guys laughing, man? So Justin Trudeau now put tariffs on U.S. thinking it's going to hurt America. But yeah, it's a bad idea. It's going to hurt Canadians. It's not going to hurt us. So if you put tariffs on your goods coming to America, that means we aren't going to buy your maple syrup. Yeah. And the oil sands coming from Alberta, we don't need that. It keeps a few thousand people working in the refinery industry in Texas, but we can import Venezuelan sludge and accomplish the same thing. So... yeah, and the reason I say that is because the refineries in the Gulf states are the best designed to refine low-grade crude oil, which is, I mean, no offense against Alberta, but the oil sands is low-grade. It's sludge, but it's still a source of energy. Trudeau will tax us to death, says Tony. Yep. Tubman Boulevard. What's this? Goodness me. Hotel. What? Oh, Sunbird. Yeah. The Royal Hotel Royal. Yeah. Yep. Yep, Tubman Boulevard. Wow, 2006, 2007. Hey, Sunbird, welcome. You were there. So if you were there, you're one of the people. I didn't build it all on my own. You guys were there. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, they gave me an award for that. That was really cool. What's ironic about is that while I was still in the Army, I was working at the War College, and I went to Liberia on a trip to help with their Ministry of Defense, do some things as part of a War College event. And while I was there, word spread quickly. Hey, Czech is back in town. Czech, because my nickname was Czech, because in order to make sure that Liberian soldiers understood what I was saying, because my accent is different and my euphemisms are different, my intonation is different than Liberian English, I would always make sure, because artillerymen, before you fire a round, you check. That means the battery is safe, you're ready to fire. So you say check. It's something artillerymen say. So I'm not an artilleryman, but I had a little bit of time with the artillery. So I would say, to make sure they understood me, I'd like, check. And they're like, check. So I think they called me Czech. Not as in like, checkers or check, but as in, okay. So the word spread. And I know people were contacting me, rushing up, finding me at the hotel. Colonel Wyatt, we heard you're in town. Can you meet so-and-so? Can you meet so-and-so? And I went to the Army headquarters. And at the Army headquarters, which at that time was put at the Barclay Training Center, I went down there and I met the commander, which was Prince Johnson, who subsequently became the Minister of Defense and then resigned later on. But Prince Johnson had a magazine in his office about the Armed Forces of Liberia, and opened it up, and there was an award for my successor, one of my successors, Lou Perozzo. And I read the citation he got that same award. And I read the citation, and I'm like, wait a second. That's the description of my officer evaluation for when I was in Liberia. They gave him an award. Now, I'm not saying he didn't deserve it. Lou Perozzo, a great guy, probably deserved the award just as much. But the description, the citation, was lifted from what I did. He wasn't even in the country. It listed all the things, the companies activated, the troops trained, yada, yada, yada. All the stuff was done. That was someone took my evaluation and gave it to the librarians, and they used it for the citation when he wasn't even in the country and gave him the award. So my citation's kind of bland, but that's okay. I know what I did. That's what matters. So, oh, wow, Sunbird. Wow. I'm not sure who that Sunbird is, but thanks for being here. It was a time. What a time it was. What a time it was. What a time it was. That was incredible. That was one of the most amazing experiences of my life, and I worked my ass off. I worked my ass off. I really did. I really, really did. Trump's tariffs are going to ruin the U.S. economy, but just Trump's tariffs are good for the Canadian economy? No. Helen says, thank you from KZN. You're welcome. Oh, you're laughing at Chris Holmes. Okay. Okay, and then didn't Trudeau resign? Yeah, well, like Angela Merkel, I resign 3 years in the future. Well, he is resigned when they find a replacement for him. Edward Dos Santos, is this true? Trump ends all aid to South Africa expropriation. It is true, Edward, but not exactly. If you read the title, it says all future aid, but he said more is to come. So in the morning, it's very likely possible that Donald Trump will suspend AGOA access and maybe even impose sanctions on South Africa. English in library is not the... Oh, no, it's not. No. I've told people this many times, and that's why you have to understand context. That's why I use the phrase check all the time. So, for instance, in Liberia, if someone says to you, where are you from? Johannesburg. And they'll look at you like, Johannesburg. Because in Liberia, when you say, hey, James Moriarty's here, welcome, how's Sherlock Holmes doing? So when someone asks you that question in Liberia, it doesn't mean where do you come from. It means where did you just come from, just now. So, you'd be like, where are you from? The Freeport. Red Light. Just came from Red Light. Tubmanville. Yeah, it's where you just came from. So you have to understand that. Yep. So, Edward, yeah, it's not entirely correct. Yep. Great Ambassador South, the keeper of the work, says Hobble. Thank you for that. It's very kind of you to say that. Where are we at here? So, Miss Master. The baiter, as a South African who works out here in Minnesota, it's shocking to see how much South Africa's declined by the time I arrive back home at the end of each year. Minnesota, yeah, whereabouts in Minnesota? Leroy Huff, can you explain how tariffs work and how they're paid? Sure, very easy. Tariffs are very simple. So a tariff can be applied on exports. So if you ship something out of the country at the port, the government can take a percentage of the value. And normally a tariff is applied to incoming goods. So when you ship goods to a country and they come into port, you have to pay the tariff. Tariffs are normal, but South Africa has access with 5,600 plus goods and services that they qualify for to ship into America with no duty on it. Then there's also the General Agreement on Trade and Tariffs and preferential trade status, all sorts of things. But yeah, so the 25% tax. So if a good coming, let's say it's a box of maple syrup that a producer in Nova Scotia, well, not Nova Scotia, in Ottawa is sending to, or Quebec. Quebec has maple trees. So Quebec is shipping maple syrup to the United States. They produce it, and it's valued at $100 in the box. When it hits the border, the U.S. government will now demand $25 U.S. from the person shipping it across the border. So they either have to pay the $25 or take it back. If they pay the $25, now they'll either have to sell the product for $125 to recoup that tax, which means the consumer will pay for it, or they'll take it back, not ship it into the country, and we'll have to acquire it locally or from another source that isn't taxed, or they'll eat the cost of the tariff. So I had Pomzilia Van Dam from the former DA member post something yesterday trying to show how articulate and erudite she is. And she goes, I'm beginning to think Americans don't understand how tariffs work. It's tariff America, yada, yada, energy prices are going to spike, yada, yada. Okay, first off, she's wrong. She's factually incorrect. The tariffs will not necessarily be paid by consumers. And in the case of Canada, energy imports are not getting a 25% tariff. I told her that. It's 10%. So the price of oil is $75 a barrel. That means Canadian oil that crosses the border will now be charged $82.50 because of the 25% or 10% tax. Yeah, 10% tax. So they'll be charged $82. So the price of oil coming from barrels of Canada goes up by 10%. She implied and misled people on Twitter that we get all our oil from Canada and Mexico. We get 70% of our imports from Canada and Mexico, but we don't really need most of those imports. We produce most of the oil we consume ourselves. So a small portion of the oil consumed in America will now have a 10% extra price, which will make it much more beneficial for domestic producers to increase their production. Because if the Canadians reduce their production because it costs more and people don't want to buy their oil, they either have to eat the difference and sell it for less. That's the first step. So they make less profit, or they don't sell it here at all and U.S. producers ramp up the production. We have the capacity. We can do it. The shale oil in the Dakotas is not producing all that it can. The tight oil in Colorado is not producing all the oil it can. Texas is not producing all the oil it can. California sure as hell is producing all the oil. So we can ramp up production to another 2 or 3 million barrels potentially, from 13 to 15 or 16 million barrels a day. So even if that oil comes at a higher price, let's put this in perspective. Eggs are trading for $10 to $12 a dozen for eggs. This is insane. I don't eat eggs. $10 to $12 a dozen. I only use them for making cakes and stuff like that. So that's even after the price of gasoline went from $5 a gallon under Biden 2 years ago to $3.19 a gallon today. So a 10% bump in the small portion of oil that comes from Canada and Mexico is not going to raise prices at the pump. And even if it did, the federal government takes 18 cents per gallon. That's not per barrel. It's 18 cents a gallon. Do you know how many gallons? It's what, 56 gallons in a barrel, something like that when you refine it? Something like that. So 56 times 18, they're making a ton of money off a barrel of oil. Whatever, maybe it's 34 gallons. Anyway, they're making money. The federal government can suspend and give a tax holiday on petrol tax, which is what I've been telling South Africa to do for years, to ease the burden on South Africans. But they refuse to do it because they're making so much money stealing money from you at the pump. So they could do that, and then the price of oil wouldn't even change. Wouldn't have anything to do with the tariffs. Now, that doesn't mean the price isn't going to spike because the markets are jittery. That could very well be the case. Energy prices could go up because the markets are jittery over tariffs. That's very real. It's all very complicated. But Pumzilla van Dam and all the leftists and all the people that think that they're brilliant economists don't know what they're talking about. I find it so funny. Anyway, I lasted 6 weeks in winter and vowed never to do the key. Yeah, winter's tough there. Yeah. Victor Pananino says, awesome work. I'm grateful. Well, you're very welcome, Victor. Thank you for being here. What did you do at red light? Okay, Andre, smart aleck. A red light is called red light, not because it's a prostitution zone, which is what you're presuming. Notice how some people's minds go straight to the dirty stuff. No, red light is called red light for this very insightful reason. You want to guess? There's a robot there. It's the only traffic light in that intersection, that whole section of town where a bunch of shops are and informal markets and traders are. So there's one robot there, one red light. So they call it red light. That's how simple things are. Yep. Fireball, Minnesota. Okay. Like wildfire orders, maintain prompt communication with your forces, your supervisor and adjoining forces, give clear instructions and make sure you understand, maintain control of your forces. Light rain, that sounds like the military. Christian Joubert, Trump government should put South Africa ruling politicians back on the travel ban list. He was too kind. 19. Yeah, okay, that's fair. Amish maple syrup sales will go up. Yeah, the U.S. and Canada are the only commercial producers of maple syrup. Here we go. We're back to it. Trump is playing the media at their own game. They don't have time to harp on about an issue for 5 minutes before he gives exactly arc. That's the thing. I'm exhausted, man. I'm exhausted. Now this pain I used to get in the side of my head is transferred over to here. The aneurysm is moving around. Anyway, no. It's hard to keep up. But it's there. It's news. It's relevant. We got to be talking about it. And the audience is growing. So I'm going to go through what's been happening again here shortly in just a moment here. Let me see how we're doing as subscribers over here. We're at 26,672. We're approaching that 27,000 mark. Look, I'm really hoping we get to 30,000 sometime soon. 200 Rand for 30 eggs. No. I said a dozen, Andre. We pay $10 for 12 eggs. In New York, it's $16 for 12 eggs. Over $1 an egg. Yep. I think Trump's, well, they killed 400,000 leg-laying chickens as Joe Biden's, bird flu slaughter. Fond memories. Lifted the veils. Cotton trees have a hell of a lot of work to do down here. So let's get to it, says Sunbird. Enjoy the best 2 hours listening in. The sun is rising. Thank you, Chris. You're very welcome. Yes, Sunbird, 100% fond memories. We did some great stuff for Liberia and for West Africa and for Africans and Liberians. We really did. And a lot of people never appreciate it, and that's fine. We don't sit around and ask for recognition. I'm not sure who Sunbird is, whether that's a former military person who worked with me or a contractor. I suspect a contractor. But whether you were getting paid to be a contractor or you were a military member or you were somebody at the embassy, we all did great stuff at that time. And what we did will It's remembered by some librarians, but most people forgot about it. So thanks, Sunbird. Thank you for being a subscriber. It was amazing. It was the best of times. Vulgar says, I wish born USA. Hey, I got the golden ticket. I was born in America and no regrets. I'll tell you what, though, with Joe Biden, I was feeling really, really lost about my citizenship. Was just messing with you, Chris, says Andre. That's fine, Andre. Trump got content creators and moderators running around like crazy. He does. 12 eggs. No wonder many people go vegan. Exactly, Andre. Look, a dozen eggs used to be $1.69. It's $1.69. Now it's $12, $14 a dozen. It's crazy. It's not just the eggs, though. It's everything. That's why they're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. The people are eating their pets. All right, ladies and gentlemen, 301 people currently here, 262 likes. Be sure to hit that like button. It is, after all, hour number 6 of my live streaming on a Sunday. We did a 3.5 hour relax, enjoy Sunday afternoon earlier today. And now with the breaking news out of the United States that Donald Trump has suspended all future foreign assistance to South Africa as a consequence of expropriation without compensation. And it's just the beginning, he said on the tarmac in Washington, D.C., well, at Andrews Air Force Base. So let me go ahead. I'm going to run through that again. We'll play those for everybody. Mary says, this is good. Good thing, folks. We may suffer, but we are used to it, aren't we? Can't get any worse. When you said check, it reminded me of having every order repeated to me when the directed. Yeah, exactly. That's what firefighters do. I didn't realize you're a firefighter, Light Rain, because we have another firefighter. Eggs are under $1. You mentioned Northcliffe in your interview with Rob Hersoff. No, Tom, I didn't live in Northcliffe. I stay with some dear friends who live there with Marilyn and Lindsay Brokenshaw. They're wonderful people. And also one of my other viewers lives in Northcliffe. And so I know Northcliffe, but no, I don't live there, but I've stayed there several times in the past 2 years. Yep, they're eating the ducks. Duck is disgusting. I don't like duck. Canada's going to get a 50% tariff on Wednesday, I predict. Well, Dave, we'll see. Could be. Yeah, so Tom, no. Worked seismic years ago, minus 45. I've been in temperatures that low. That's cold. Even me. I don't walk around in shorts in that weather. But let's get back to, is there a new U.S. ambassador to South Africa? No, Amanda. Although rumor is that Joel Pollack will get the nod. I haven't heard any phone calls. I have put my name out there, but I'm not known by the Trump administration, so that's probably not going to happen. But anyway, that's fine, dandy. We, whoever, if I don't get to become the ambassador or work for the U.S. government in South Africa, my trip back there. So I asked to interview Ruben Brigidi. And his deputy chief of mission worked with me in Botswana, and we have a very good working relationship. We get along. We served together again later on in another assignment in Africa, but I know her very well. And I requested that I get an interview with Ruben Brigidi about events in South Africa. And I got a terse response back from the public affairs officer, basically telling me to go stuff myself. I mean, that wasn't but that was basically it. That was not a very polite response. You know, we're not interested sort of thing. Well, that's your mistake because your public affair, and this is before the Lady R event, by the way, before Lady R. So they just blew me off. Well, we'll see what happens if I'm still doing this gig and I'm not involved with the Trump administration when I get back to South Africa. We'll see what happens when I ask the U.S. Embassy for whoever that ambassador is. If it's not me, if they give me an interview, we'll see. Yeah, so I identify myself as an AI robot. Sam says, while doing their investigation, they must include $5 billion donated during COVID lockdown, which disappeared. I'm not sure which $5 billion you're talking about, Sam. A lot of media outlets have talked about that, but I've talked about the $4.3 billion provided by the IMF and World Bank, the $1 billion by the BRICS Bank, and the $285 million from the African Development Bank, all of which disappeared. Is that what you're talking about? Plus, on top of that, the United States and the European Union gave Aspen Pharmacare 700. Hey, Yvonne. For all, thank you very much. Gave Aspen Pharmacare another $711 million, $711 during the lockdown to produce COVID jabs for the continent. They didn't do it. Yaku Devanaga, welcome to you. Deval Devanaga is the guy I think of when I hear that name. King View Safaris. Hey, Chris, I have a podcast about South African hunting. Would be cool to have you again. Yeah, no, fine. Kingsview, are you on WhatsApp or Telegram? If you are, Hendo, please. There it is. There's the Hendo. Hendo is awake. He just got up. And what time is it in the UK? It is. It's like 3 a.m. Hendo's up. Hendo just put the WhatsApp Telegram group on there. You can join that WhatsApp group and a Telegram group. Send me a message there, and I'll respond back to you. I'm happy to do it. We have the big outdoor rec show here at the Farm Show building in Harrisburg. And a few years ago, I went there and I live streamed from it, which was pretty cool. All the gun dealers and all the camping stuff and everything and all the safari outfits in Africa, in South Africa, and Namibia. And I went there and I meant to interview all those people. It never really worked out there. WhatsApp. I'm based in Texas. We'll do. Okay, please do reach out to me that way. I'm happy to come on your program. Happy to come on there. I never turn down interviews unless it's an avowed racist or a member of the EFF. Yep. They keep coming. Keep going, boss. Yeah, I am keep going here, you know. Give me a second here. So, yeah, the numbers are still climbing. Okay, so let me do this very quickly. We're going to bring up this whole thing because people are jumping in the program. So, but first, I got a little bit of this Chemical Brothers. I love this song, man. Galvanize, the time is now. Just a second. Hang on. I love this. Don't hold back. I love that song, man. Oh, Galvanize, the Chemical Brothers. One-hit wonders, man. That was awesome music. A lot of people are surprised to learn about my musical taste. It runs the gamut. I listen to everything under the sun. All right, so let me just get to this now. I want to get to the Cyril piece, and we'll put Trump up. So those just tuning in now, because some people are getting up in South Africa, and I'll explain to you what's going on.
We've been saying,
and he could say, you leave South Africa alone. It's for us. It's for us, said Cyril. Okay, so let's get to that now. I need to get that image of Trump back. Hang on a second here. And where is the tariffs at? His tariff message. It's here somewhere. Come on, come on. There it is. Okay. So I put this on the screen, and you'll have to excuse me because I'm going to use this moment to let you guys listen to this. Okay. So this is what Trump posted earlier. This is why we're having this live stream right now, folks. This is what Trump posted earlier. You can read this, and I'm going to play Cyril for about a minute and a half. And so listen to this. Here we go. Definitely Gen X generation. So fuck around, find out. Yeah, Mary, I'm not really Gen X. I'm right on the borderline. I am the last of the baby boomers, literally. You don't get any later than me, except by less than a week. I was born in 1964, and that's the end of the baby boom. 1945 to December 31st, 1964, and I fall just inside that window, Christmas Day, 64. So I've always been a baby boomer, but the end of it. But my mom was a baby boomer too. She was born in 45, so we're bookends of the baby boom. She's passed on. But I've been lumped in with Gen X my entire life, so I'm kind of both of those. But yeah, but I'm definitely, I get called a boomer a lot. I also get called a Gen Xer. But anyway, I'm me. That's who I am. But here we go. All right, so this is what Trump had to say earlier, and this is what Cyril had to say about Donald Trump just a few years ago about him and his thoughts on land when he did that tweet about South Africa and farm murders.
and we've been saying, for this issue of the land, this issue that Donald Trump fears so much, we offer this question of the land. I don't know what Donald Trump has to do with South African land, because he's never been here. And he must keep his America, we will keep our South Africa. That's what he must do. South Africa is our land. South Africa belongs to all the people who live here in South Africa. It does not belong to Donald Trump. He can keep his America. And Ene is even worse. He's even worse. When I meet him, I will tell him. I'll say, you, Donald Trump, you are even worse, because your forebears came to America. They found the native, the indigenous Americans. They wiped them out. They killed nearly all of them. Rine, we are living as a nation, and black and white, we are going to find solutions for our land question. So Donald Trump must leave us alone.
Donald Trump must leave us alone. We are going to find solutions for our land issue. Ladies and gentlemen, that's from 2018. 6 years ago. So what solutions have you found, Cyril? You've not found any solutions because you're a lying sack of horse manure. You're a total crock. Yep, being exposed for the fraud that he is. Yes, code name V. I understand that voice irritates you. Yep, I got you. Is for us to destroy, says Rob. So embarrassing being in South Africa, says Victor. I got you. Well, imagine my embarrassment when we had Joe Biden. Yeah, my mind's going blank, folks. Oh, man, 4 years of that misery. That was bad. Anna Marie says, Chris, when will you have Rob Herself on the show? That will be interesting. I had Rob on, Anna Marie. Did you not catch that? I'm sorry. Here's the link for that for those who missed it. Rob Herself was just on my show on Friday. So let me put that into the chat. Rob said we need to do it again, and I'm fine with that. For those who don't know, I also appear on Biz News periodically, in South Africa. In addition to that, I'm on the Caravan at Midnight as a frequent guest on there. And I've been on Alex Newman's program, The Sentinel Report, among other things. And every week I appear on Wednesdays with the Colonel on Ronaldo Ho's program in South Africa. Black and white expropriation without compensation. Our people doesn't include minorities. Yeah, no, Mary, when he says our people, yep. Awesome show, Rob rocks. Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. Thank you. You're welcome, Anne-Marie. Yeah, I think the problem is that, look, YouTube doesn't do a good job of showing content. In fact, let me look at my channel and see. Let's see if we can see what it looks like if you're just tuning into my channel. So let me get there and see, because I haven't looked at it, and see how things, maybe I need to reorganize some things. So here we go. That's not what I want. I wanted the actual channel. Where's your channel? There you go. All right, so your channel, this is what it looks like. Okay, so boom. There you go. So you see right now I'm live, and it's Trump ends free trade, but 2,400 videos, 26,000 subscribers. Okay, so for you, that puts up just I don't know what it puts that sequence, because that's not in the order. For instance, they've got Neil DeBeer more recently than Rob Hersoff. Rob Hersoff was after Neil DeBeer. So then here's South Africa's elections. I need to move that down because it's not as important now, but that's the coverage I did there on South Africa's elections. Then here's the South Africa, the bulky list. I need to move that one up. In the Adaba conversation, I need to move up. So there you go. There's with David Ansara and Matthew Orlowitz, saving the Botas Lark. Yep. And then here you go. Videos, past live streams, stray voltage live streams, popular videos. And that does the ones that have the biggest number of views. And then here's channels that I promote. Still promoting Leon Lotigan. He's been quiet for a long time. I don't even know if he's still around. I think he still makes videos. Conscious Caracal, Morning Shot. Morning Shot's creeping up to that 100,000 subscriber mark. I envy them. Paratus, Joe Emilio. Joe Emilio, 17,000 subscribers. Well done, Gio. That's taking a long time. And Ronaldo with 133,000 subscribers. Yeah, so the Indaba conversation with Chris is my interviews with people. So here you go. Rob, Neil DeBeer, Matthew Orlowitz, and then, what's his name there? And then David Ansara. And who else we got there? The Bella Bill with Dirk Herman. There's another Neil DeBeer. Richard Wilkinson talking about education. Gabriel Krause. So that's not in any particular order. There's a whole bunch of them there. So anyway, that's the conversation. So that's what my channel looks like. Yeah, so anyway, I thought I'd share it with you. Andre loves Neil DeBeer. Love the Sunday show. Love Biz News. You're very okay. Neil DeBeer for president. If we see Gate McKenzie and Fidel Adams comes on, yes, Hendo, we'll see. What can we do to help get our country back again? I feel so flippin' hopeless. Victor, again, I'm going to share this right now because we have Anita. Welcome. Thank you for your membership. Appreciate your support. So for the 327 people that are currently here right now, let me make this very clear. A lot of you are in South Africa. Many of you are South African voters, South African residents. Make this very clear. You need to pick up your mobile phone. You need to inundate and saturate the switchboards for the Democratic Alliance, the Freedom Front Plus, their parliamentary members in Parliament, the parliamentary switchboard. You must go knock on their door. Stand on the door to the DA local ward office. You must tell them. You must tell your MPs to go sign that letter and get 132 members of the South African Parliament to sign off on a letter to go to the Constitutional Court before February 20th. Do that now so that we can get expropriation without compensation declared unconstitutional by the Concord. You must do that. You must send them emails, cause their servers to collapse. Get in the streets. Peter Fundamevich is subscribed. Thank you for your subscription, Peter. That's what you must do. It's not hopeless, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not here to give you a message of hopelessness. I'm not here to tell you the sky is falling. I'm simply here to analyze and predict what can and will happen. And guess what? Once again, I was correct. Donald Trump is going to spank South Africa, and here it is. Here it is. I even did a video earlier in the day, 12 hours ago now, almost 12 hours ago. I did a video. Yeah, I recorded 12 hours ago, and I said, hey, it's coming. And what happened? 6 hours later, it came. But it's not the end of the world. You must galvanize. That's why I like that song. It's time to galvanize. You must galvanize. You must get out there. It is time to galvanize South Africa. You can do it. You have agency. Don't let the politicians get away with it. Don't let the DA be lazy. What is the DA? So this is the DA the other day. Well, here's our press conference. Yes, the president disrespected us. We weren't even informed. We found out from the media. We weren't the only ones. Other parties were treated poorly too, and we're very upset about it. And I've begged the president for a meeting to do a reset on the GNU. And now the real reason we're here. We are conducting our 2026 campaign for local elections, and we will be the biggest party in 2026. And now for something completely different. Seriously, don't stop with the political parties. Hit solidarity. Hit AfriForum. Don't saturate. Thank you, EchoWise, for subscribing. Don't saturate their switchboards, but send them a message. You should send Solidarity, send AfriForum at least one message. You should make at least one phone call to both of them to voice your opinion. Probably for them, email's the best. And if Dear SA is still up, reach out to Dear SA. Get galvanized. Get groups of people together. Get a permit. March on Parliament. Do it now. Don't wait until it's in effect. If you wait past February 20th, you are stuck with expropriation until a few years from now. And how many people will suffer their property, not just their land, their property being confiscated under expropriation? Who could tell me that answer? Tell me, who could tell me that answer? You must mobilize. It's time to galvanize, folks. Damn, I wish I would get copyright strikes. I'd play that song right through this. Who cares if the DA is weak and gay? Who cares? Being gay doesn't stop you from having agency. Being weak doesn't stop you from having agency. Failing to stand up for yourself has lack of agency. Yeah, nag on your local politicians. Make it crystal clear that they have to do it or they will lose your vote. Yep. Hanali Fund here. Yes, your pension funds, your jewelry, your buckies, your clothing, your flat, your apartment, your stocks, your bonds. It's all property. It's right there in the Constitution. It can all be expropriated, and it will be. They'll go for the easy, low-hanging fruit. It's easy for the government to confiscate your pension funds. They're in banks and insurance companies. Oh, we're taking 10%. What can you do about it? Nothing. And the argument we're giving, and they'll tell uneducated, poor South Africans, especially black Southerners, oh, we've taken from these people and we're giving it to you. And they don't give them anything. They've stolen trillions of rand. How many schools has the ANC built last year? How many? How many schools did they build in a year a decade ago? 100. Andre Real, I didn't say the DA could rescue South Africa. I said you can rescue South Africa. Okay, please, I'm going to make this very clear. All right? There are 400 members of Parliament. Section 80, let me see if I have my Section 80 stuff here. Hang on a second, see if I've got it. Let's see if I wrote down ECTI. I hope I did this. Section 80. No, I didn't do it that way. Shoot. All right. Oh, I'm in the wrong place. Here we go. Section 80. Let me look here. SECT. Section 80. Section 80 effort. There it is. Okay. All right. 27 January. Okay, so let me go there. 27 January. Okay. What date is this? Here it is. Okay. There it is. Okay. There you go. So I'm going to help you out here, folks. All right. And I'm going to go through this whole thing. This was in a video I did, a video analysis. Okay. So here you go. All right. So Section 80. All right. I'm making sure I've got it in the right place. Okay. So there you go. Okay. It's an application by members of the National Assembly. This is what needs to happen right now. You've wasted a week. A week has been wasted. More than a week. 23 January. Get off your ass, South Africa. South Africa. Azania. Mzansi. Get off your bums and get in touch with your members of political parties to get them off their ass to get 132 signatures. And I'm going to tell you why. This is the solution. I don't just bring you problems. I bring you solutions. Application by members of the National Assembly to the Constitutional Court, Section 80 of the South African Constitution, promulgated in 1996. Paragraph 1. Members of the National Assembly may apply to the Constitutional Court for an order declaring that all or part of an act of Parliament is unconstitutional. An application must meet the following two standards. It must be supported by at least 1/3 of the members of the National Assembly and must be made within 30 days of the date on which the President has assented and signed the act. You must have 1/3. That is 132 members of the Parliament. 132. Now, let me show you the situation, all right? First off, before I go any further, understand the DA, Action SA, the Freedom Front Plus, and Cotton Freedom Party all oppose this law, as does MK and EFF, for very different reasons. So, let's talk about that. The Constitutional Court may order that all or part of an act that is the subject of an application in terms of subsection 1 has no force until the court has decided. So what that means, ladies and gentlemen, is if you take this letter to the Constitutional Court today, tomorrow, with 132 members of Parliament signing it, they can at that very moment put a stay. They can put a freeze on expropriation and the government can do nothing while they review the case. They don't have to, but they can. So they can stay the action. All right. if the application is in the interest of justice, require this, and the application has a reasonable prospect of success. And if an application is unsuccessful and do not have a reasonable prospect of success, the Constitution Court may order the applicants to pay the cost. So what? Pay the cost. You need a donation. You need a GoFundMe. You need a Back a Buddy program to raise the money to pay the legal bill in case you lose. I'll contribute. This is unconstitutional. Section 25 requires just and equitable compensation be paid to those whose property is confiscated. Simple as that. You cannot pass a law and override the Constitution. The Constitution is the supreme law of the land. It's as simple as that. I know that the ANC is pretty stupid, but they can't be that stupid. That's the reason for a Constitution. It's the law of the land. All right, now I'm going to go through here, and I actually didn't mean to close that. I closed that by mistake. So now I'm going to show you, here's the situation, okay? All right, so this is the current situation. In order to get to 132 members of parliament, and we've already wasted the 24th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9, 31. That is already 8 days, 31, 1 February, 2 February. 10 days of the 30 days are gone. You have 20 days to accomplish this, South Africa. And isn't that hard? Right now, to get 1/3 of parliament, the 132 members of the parliament, that's a pre-burned parliament, by the way, before it was torched by the ANC's negligence. The Democratic Alliance has 87 members in parliament. The Inkatha Freedom Party, 17. The Freedom Front Plus, 6. Action SA, 6. And the ACDP has 3. I know these parties all oppose this. So that's 119. You're going to say, Chris, that's not enough. It's not enough. You're right. It's not enough, folks. It's not enough. But it's not the end of the world. Because here's some other possibilities. Here are 3 parties that might join. The Patriotic Alliance, which has said they're opposed to it. And when I did the video, they hadn't made a statement yet. Now they've said it. So that takes you out to 127. Then you've got BOSA, which takes you to 229. All right. Anyway, so yeah, those 14 and UDM possibly. I don't know that Bantu Holomisa would go along with it, but that takes you to 133 potentially right there. I think UDM might not come along with this. But if you get the PA, BOSA, and UDM, you have 133 members of parliament, and the letter goes to the Constitutional Court. Case closed. Then it's up to the courts to decide. And then Trump can back off or hold off on further action. And then getting to 132. You don't have to have BOSA. You don't have to have UDM. You don't have to have PA, but you do have the PA now. So let me tell you why. Because it's possible that MK members or EFF members may sign the letter declaring this law unconstitutional because they don't like the law. They don't agree with it. They think that they should steal the land and give it to the government. So they don't like the laws that exist. They're upset. But MK has 58 members. EFF has 39. That's 97. If you throw that in with the 119, that's 216 members. If you add the other 14 votes, you go even higher. You go even higher. The other 14 votes would take you to 230 members of parliament. And that's a pretty solid number. That's a good chance of success. So there's a solution, folks. I don't just bring you problems and carp and whine about stuff. I bring you solutions on this program, and I've been doing it since the very beginning. Very beginning. Rise Mzansi said they're in favor of it. Rise Mzansi already said they're in favor of the expropriation bill. EP says in South Africa, the communists rule everything, including the courts. You say that, but the Constitutional Court sent Jacob Zuma to prison. The Constitutional Court overruled the Supreme Court of Appeal and the North Gauteng High Court, declaring that the expropriation without the tourism relief fund for black South Africans was unconstitutional. But by then, all the money had been spent. So the courts may be controlled by communists, but they have been balanced in many of their rulings. Yep, especially the Constitutional Court. Always talked about how the colonel needs cute girls to get views. Please, for the love of God, find a way to contact Savannah Hernandez. Savannah Hernandez? Who's Savannah Hernandez? Okay, I'm going to see if she's cute. Savannah. I don't know who Savannah Hernandez is. Let me see if she's cute. Savannah Hernandez. Never heard of her. Oh, Turning Point. Well, that's not going to happen. Savannah Hernandez, that's Charlotte. Is she Hispanic? She doesn't look Hispanic. Yeah, she's not bad looking. Not bad looking. Anyway, and now is the time for sane South Africans to act. Exactly. King's view, so far as someone wakes up Gareth and get him to the colonel on the burning platform with his PowerPoint. Yeah, well, someone tell Gareth, yeah. Gareth has tweeted about it already this morning, but I agree. Yeah, well, I'll send that to Gareth then, so hang on a second. Shareable link. Let me send it to Gareth right now because I haven't heard from him. Hang on a second. That's the wrong one. Okay, there you go. I'll send it to him. That's my video from yesterday. Okay. And then I'll send him this one here. All right, so we'll see if he reaches out to me. There's Brendy. Yeah, I know. I got Brendy Wells reached out to me too. So I'll probably wind up on Caravan of Midnight. That's coming up. So anyway, so there you go. I just sent those links out. Gareth Cliff is not on yet. So yeah. Hang on a second. If you guys want me to come on today, I'll stay up. All right, so yeah, you guys should go on there and tell him to get a hold of me. But I'll stay up for Gareth Cliff if people want me to come on there. But it's got to be up to Gareth and his producers. And his main producer left, so I've sent him a message. Don't know if he'll get it, but I'm available. Somebody wake up Ronaldo. Cliff Central starts in 15 minutes. Yeah, I just sent a message, so he's probably not checking it. So let me go over there. Let me go to Cliff Central. Let me see. Free segment with John B. Wells. Yeah, I know. Hold on. I don't know. I'm just saying the Real Network. Okay. Let me go ahead and go over there. Okay, so I'm sorry, folks. I want to type it in, so I've just put a note over there on their webpage. Come on. All right, so I've just put it there. All right, maybe people see it. I don't have a way of pinning it there. I'm not a moderator on that channel. Christo Jordan. Jordan, thank you. I always think of Danny Jordan. I know it's not the only one. And Teens Jordan. Okay, so they'll never stop stealing. Cliff Central starting. I just sent my DA counselor a WhatsApp message to find out what is being done. Yep, exactly. Section 80. Hannah Lee Van Heerden, Section 80 of the Constitution. Most DA members probably don't know what I'm talking about. Most South Africans probably know what I'm talking about. But you got to read your Constitution, something I do. Here's my Constitution. I read it. My Declaration of Independence and even the Articles of Confederation. I will admit that I'm not well versed in the Articles of Confederation. That's because we stopped using them in 1787. So they're not that important to me. I just read them as a historian. But I know my Constitution. I read it frequently. So, yep. She's Japanese Hispanic. Ah, that's why she had a different look. Japanese Hispanic. That's interesting. She does gritty street journalism, gets punched in the face occasionally, and still gets Tucker Carlson and Alex Jones here. Well, Light Rain, if you can tell her, about me and try to get me on, I'll be happy to go there. Vulgar is saying free Palestine. Palestine is free. It doesn't exist. Love Neil DeBeer says help. Okay. Chris should marry Helen. They're equally feisty. Helen's a little old for me. I'm sorry. A little old for me. My interest resides much more in that 22 to 28 range. Burmicey. I'm just saying. FarmersOnly.com. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. DA or a clown show, says Sloth Puppy. Well, you're not going to get a lot of arguments from people on this program. Buzz Lightyear. Hey, man, I didn't know you were around. Gareth has tweeted about it already this morning, but I agree. Yeah, I don't know if he's excellent. Okay. Oh, he responded. Okay. All right, cool. Cool. I'll be on Gareth Cliff. Okay, 6:20. So, yeah, that's about 20 after the hour. So I'm going to have to end my stream for that. I got 345 people, and I'm going to end my stream to go on Gareth Cliff. I get nothing from this. And the audience there will be about the same size of this. But you know what? It's not about that. It's about getting the word out. And Gareth has reached, and so they're going to send me a link. And so, yeah, there you go, folks. Cool beans. So, yeah, I have to keep attention over here about 20 after the hour. So I'm going to keep going probably for about another 20 minutes or so on this one, and I'll wrap up what we're doing there. So I'll be on Gareth Cliff after this, folks. So let me see if I can redirect you to Gareth Cliff. I wonder if I can do that. Let me see. So I'm going to customization, redirect the Real Network. Come on. The Real Network. There it is, Gareth Cliff. That's it. I can redirect you there. You used to have permission, people's permission. So there you go. Cool beans. All right, you'll get redirected there from here. Hopefully that'll give Gareth a little bump too. Cool beans. All right, wow, folks. This is exciting times. Look, it's exciting times if we can stop this, okay? And I've given you a solution, okay? Section 80. Section 80. I got to make some notes for myself. Make sure I mention on Gareth's program, Section 80. All is not lost. Yep. Future aid. Wow. Okay. Some other media will contact you with expertise. Well, I hope so, Colton. Colton. Hogan Caulfield. I mixed your name and your surname. Yeah, so I hope so, Colton. But Holden. But don't hold your breath. Don't hold your breath. Yeah, Emery says, well, watch. You need to be heard by more South African. Well, I agree, Victor, but YouTube hid my content for years. Suddenly, I broke through. I think it all started with, I'm an ANC, bitch! Knobs and Keezy's video. I'm an ANC, bitch! Remember that? That's where it all started, folks. This is the current tsunami, the thing we're sliding on right now, all started with Knobs and Keezy, her launching her vulgar attacks on colored South Africans, and I came out and defended colored South Africans. Yeah, Holden says I've been called worse. I'm sure. Yeah, that's it. Remember that, folks? I'm an ANC, bitch. Knobs and Keezy. Look, it's not funny. But where is the South African Human Rights Commission on the Knobs and Keezy case, by the way? I'm just curious. Fox or some other will contact with XPs in South Africa. Well, it'd be nice if they did America First Rifleman. Whoa, America First Rifleman. I like that username. That's pretty cool. Thanks for becoming a subscriber. It's all well and good, but how do we reach the uneducated and naive masses? By becoming involved with them, King's View Safaris. If you're a farmer and you have farm workers, you should be sharing things with them. You should talk to them. They should know about what's going on. You shouldn't just be about doing the work. You're out there fixing the fence posts. You can talk about things. You could talk to Sipo. Hey, Sipo. How's it going? I mean, is your daughter okay? I heard she was ill. Is she back in school? Let's bang on the fence post, fix it. Herd the cattle, move the sheep around, ask them what's going on. That's how you do it. You engage, you become involved with people, you become part of something. Coloreds still want to PK. Stay away from gay flats. Look at those numbers. We are so back. Yeah. Yeah, so Wyatt Army in action. That's right. We'll watch Gareth Cliff. Okay, let me see. I'm just checking to see if I got a link here. Anyway, journalism gets punched in the face occasionally and still gets... Okay, I got it. This. I don't know this. Hernandez was her name? I lost track of that. So Vanessa, what's her name? I looked at Savannah Hernandez. Okay. Yeah. But she's with Turning Point because she's young. If you're over 25, Charlie Kirk doesn't want to talk to you. So I reached out to Candace Owens and Charlie Kirk a few years back before I retired about Turning Point and trying to help them. But I was over the age of 50, so they didn't give a flying flip. They just ignored me completely. So whatever, that's their prerogative. As expected, counselors... See, exactly, Huntley, what did I tell you? What did I tell you? What did I tell you? I'm an American. I know your Constitution better than you do. Not you, but that's it. Mark Schultz, thank you for your subscription. Yeah, anyway, Section 80. Yeah, I'm going to look that up. Actually, I've got the Constitution here. So let me see if I can find that. I've got it in a PowerPoint, not a PowerPoint, in a Constitution. I have it in a Acrobat format. So Constitution, is it here? I don't know. It's not under that title. Let me just look it up online. That's the easiest way to do it. South African Constitution. South... Constitution PDF. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. There it is. DK Gamecast just subscribed. Thank you for that, DK Gamecast. Yep. So, yeah. Looks like Rob Hersoff is going to be on there tonight, too, and Gareth Cliff. That'll be interesting. All right. It's taking a long time for this thing to open up, so let me just try it this way. Suddenly, my connection to South Africa are looking pretty lame. Okay, Section 80. Come on. Where's it at, man? Let me see if I can, maybe that's the name of it. Let me see if that's SA Constitution. Hang on a second. I want to find this because I want to find that section there. SA Con. Nope, that's not it. That's not the name of the file. Damn it. Hate that. And I've got it here, but it's been so long ago. So, Johan Vogt. A lot of people are finding the channel at this hour. Candace Owens, disgusting anti-Semite. Sue Farrell, yeah, I'm not a fan of Candace Owens. People love her because she's a shiny toy. Why is this thing not opening? Open a new tab. I'll try to open it again here. I had it somewhere there. World Intellectual Property, Constitutional Court. There we go. Let me see if one of these will open up. So PDF is what I want because it's easier to search. Problem loading the page. Well, South Africa's Justice Department website is down. Surprise, surprise. Constitution Republic of South Africa. Okay, so Section 80. Here we go. I'm trying to find it. Come on, where are we at? 38? Where's this at? I'm not finding it. So why can't I find this? SECTION 80. Why am I not finding this? Oh, there we go. Go back here. Section 42, Section President, National Executive, Parliament. There you go. 80 to 82. Okay, I found it here on another website. 8082. Oath of Office, Public Office, Section 80. Application members. There it is. Okay. All right, here you go. It's right here. Application members, National Assembly, 30 days. There it is. I'm not making this up. There, you can see it right there for yourself on the Constitution of South Africa. It's right there. I know you can't see that, but that's what it is. Oh, someone else. People are just coming in left and right now. Cool beans. Hope we fund the moderate Boers like we have moderate rebels in the Mideast. Not sure where that's going with that. Anyway, let me take a look and see if I've got an update. Okay. Okay, cool. I've got it 6 a.m. Oh, they got, okay. Okay. Sorry. Sorry, folks. All right. Okay, hang on a second. Man, my typing is terrible. I got to work on this typing, man. There we go. All right, just send him a message. I've got the link. Okay, cool. How much aid do USA give us? Scientists, U.S. aid South Africa averages between $400 and $600 million a year. So 10 to what's it? 10? It's 10. So 500 billion would be 10 billion. 10 to 15 billion rand a year. South Africa is what you get from us. That's direct aid. Plus, we facilitate stuff from international organizations like the International Monetary Fund, the World Bank, the African Development Bank, the African Union. We facilitate those things, speaking on behalf of South Africa. And then we have over $20 billion in trade between the U.S. and South Africa. South Africa has a trade surplus with the U.S. And $2.3 billion of that money is through the Africa Growth and Opportunity Act. It's duty-free. Okay, hang on a second. Okay, cool. All right, so I'm going to stick with this broadcast. We will end this broadcast, folks, at 1:15. So we got about 17 minutes here. I'm going to go through and wrap up everything we know here shortly. 10 billion rand. Oh, yeah, Hanali, 10 billion. 10 billion or more every year. Now, it doesn't go to the government of South Africa, by and large. Most of it goes to NGOs. But, yeah, it does come there. You are our general, Delarey. Delarey, Salia Liboa. Yeah, no, that's a lot of macadamia nuts. Oh, Caulfield is locked onto the macadamia nuts. Yep, I watch some YouTube here live on X. Also, people will notice, okay? Holy crap, my taxes pay for South Africa. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes, Light Rain. Oh, let me find that and put it on the screen for you there, folks. Let me find that and put it on the screen for you. Yep, okay, hang on a second there. Hang on a second there. I'm going to find that and put that on the screen for you. Give me a second there. So I need, it might not be able to find it because USAID site's down. U.S. foreign aid to South Africa. Let me see if I can find that. U.S. foreign assistance by country. The USAID site was down earlier, so I think it's still down. Tashwell Carles. Oh, I know a guy named Carles who's from Knysna. He plays rugby. Adrian Carles. So, yeah, the USAID site is still down. So, U.S. foreign aid by country. All right, so here you go. Let me just show you this. This is a commercial site that's supported by the Department of State and it's a government site, Department of State and the USAID, but it's run by State Department. That's why it's still up, because USAID site's down. So you probably can't see this very well. Don't worry about this. This says $273 million, but the real figure is all agencies, $440 million in 2023. So in 2023, South Africa got $440 million from the U.S. taxpayer. $440 million times 19. That is, okay, that's only 8.3 billion rand. So that's a little less than 10 billion, 8.3. That's direct assistance, but we've given as much as $600 million dollars. So let's see what we got here. Here's some of the programs, top activities. I can show you here, USAID, pay and benefits, safeguarding advances in tuberculosis treatment, accelerating program to achievements control epidemics, community-based violence prevention and linkages. So $8 million to stop gender-based violence, $7.88 million for Prosper Africa trade and investment activity, $6.8 million for Southern African mobilizing investment activity, $6.6 million for school-based sexuality, HIV prevention education, $6.5 million for school-based HIV and gender-based violence prevention, $39 million to the Inova Health Institute, $24 million to the Broadreach Corporation, Right to Care $18.8 million, University of the Witwatersrand $15.6 million, Development Alternatives $14.6 million, Think TB and HIV Investigative Network $13 million, Unspecified Vendors $11 million, Material Adolescent and Child Health Institute $8.9 million, Networking $8.6 million. Top sectors, $178 million for HIV/AIDS, $35 million for operating expenses, $30 million for basic health, $8 million for South African agriculture, trade and policy, $7 million, emergency response, $4 million, government and civil society, $3 million, energy, $2 million, and it goes on and on and on and on. Wow. That's what we give. For real, though, I hope the whites in South Africa become the anti-Rhodesians take the, what's this? Would the World Fact Book run by CIA tell you about foreign aid? I'm not sure. By the way, it is run by the CIA, but it's not written entirely by the CIA. So the World Fact Book is a collaborative effort by the U.S. government. I contributed to the World Fact Book, to the classified, and there's an unclassified version, which you're familiar with. There's a classified version of the World Fact Book available only to people with clearances within the U.S. government. So I have been an author for the World Fact Book. See, that's something I don't run around telling people that. Every year we get requests for the input for defense spending. So the stuff you see on the military that comes in the World Fact Book isn't coming from analysts at the CIA. It's coming from analysts at the Defense Intelligence Agency. I was one of them. Yep. Sloth Puppy says, you've been warning us for 5 years. You're truly the legend. Well, thank you for that. Jan van de Westhuizen, what is the percentage received versus... Sorry, that was the Gareth Cliff show. Came on unexpectedly. I had it on so I wouldn't lose it. I just turned it off. Well, okay, Jan van de Westhuizen, I don't have an answer for that because we'd have to do an audit of all those. That's not available on that website. It just tells you where the money's dispersed. I can't answer that. What you're looking for is like what we get in America. You know, if you have $100 given to an aid organization or NGO, how much of that is spent on delivering aid, vice admin? Well, I can tell you that from the $440 million spent in South Africa in 2023 by USAID or by U.S. government, 34 million of that went to operating expenses. So for our U.S. government entities to do the disbursement of that money, to get the money out there from our tax dollars, we spent just for our own staff and our own capabilities, traveling, conferences, all that stuff, infrastructure, equipment, computers, networks, electricity. We spent $34 million to provide $440 million to South Africa. So that means that about $405 million of that money went there. So that's less than 10% went for our overhead. But that doesn't explain the overhead for those NGOs. So I can't answer that question very well. Anyway, so yeah. I tell you what, folks, I might wind up coming back and doing another live stream after Gareth Cliff. We'll see how it goes. So if you guys are interested in that, so here's Gareth. Let me see.
Live on YouTube this morning, and then you can be part of the conversation too. Wow, there's so much going on. The big news of the morning. Orange Man, Donald John Trump, says the following. You see, it was only a matter of time before he would eventually...
All right, so that's Gareth Cliff. I'll be on there in about 15 minutes, folks, so looking forward to that. They'll squeeze me in. I don't know how long I'll have, so I'll talk fast. Those NGOs should be audited. Yeah, drop in a bucket. They may be audited. I don't have the answer on that. That one I don't know. Why does America give to the University of Witwatersrand when there's a clear racial laws? Well, Edward Dos Santos, I agree with you. Why do we give to the University of Witwatersrand? Because they do HIV research. That's why. But that doesn't justify it. I agree with you. Ready, boss. Let's go. Yeah. Good morning, Vilma. How you doing? Jacques Funderbeck says, good morning. People are tuning in now. We're at 358 people currently here. Hope Tulsi gets confirmed. Her interview on Chris Williams' podcast opened my eyes to the horrific lies about President Trump. I didn't see that. And I think that the one nomination that may not succeed will be Tulsi Gabbard. I'm not for or against her. I just don't think she's qualified to be the director of national intelligence. I'm better qualified than she is, by a wide margin. For real though, I hope okay, what's that? What else I'm missing here in the chat? Devet was my favorite over Delahaye, the man from the Freistaat. Okay. Sleep a bit by, what's this drop? Just remember to sleep a bit by at least Wednesday. Oh, I'll get a little bit of sleep. Yeah, Light Rain is still shocked that his taxes pay for South Africa. Oh, yeah. $8.1 billion we've spent on HIV alone in South Africa since 2003. 22 years, $8.1 billion. 150 billion rand we've spent there. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy, folks. I'm telling you, it's just reality. So for those just tuning in now, because it's the top of the hour, thank you for tuning in. I know that it's 6 a.m. in South Africa. Do you know where your children are? Well, I hope you do, if you've got children, even if they're adult children. Drunken Yoda is in from Atlanta, unless I've forgotten where Drunken Yoda is at. So welcome to the program. Let me run through the events of the morning. I will be departing here in 10 minutes and ending this broadcast, unfortunately, because I need to go on Gareth Cliff program and tell him the impact of what's going on here. Tulsi's fully qualified and more for the absolutely the best. Nah, you're wrong. You're wrong. Tell me what her qualifications are, Magus. Please, Magus Mike. What are her qualifications to be the Director of National Intelligence? She's a congresswoman? She's a civil affairs officer? Please, I'm waiting. Please tell me why she's qualified the Director of National Intelligence. Happy to hear about it. Is she an intelligence analyst? Is she an intelligence operator? Is she an intelligence professional? Has she ever led anything larger than a group of 5 people? Has she ever run multi-billion-dollar programs? Has she ever run a global workforce? What leadership experience does she have? If you can identify any of those, I'm happy to change my opinion. But I know Tulsi Gabbard, not personally, but I know who she is, and I know what she's done, and I'm not impressed by what she has. That's my opinion. That's one man's opinion. Anyway, so I can come up with dozens of people who are better qualified than her. So anyway, who else will President Trump put forth? He could put forth anybody. He could put forth me. He could put forth all kinds of people. Yep. Is in the National Guard, but also went to World Economic Forum schools. Super impressed. You must see it through. What's that? What am I lost on there? Trumpy's going to kick some Ramaphosa's ass. Trumpy. Oh my goodness. We're not going to play Giselle tonight. Okay, let me go ahead and get back. For those who just tuned in, we're going to play just a little bit of this before we go, because I know some people catch us at the end, and I want to make sure that everybody understands why we were here tonight. So I'm going to show you the tweet from Donald Trump, and then I will be on Gareth Cliff here shortly. Hang on a second, folks. All right, that's Cyril. I got the Cyril. I need him for the background, and we're going to play about a minute of Cyril, and then I'll show you Trump's reaction. So give me a second here. There's the tweet. I need to put that. There's a little admin stuff I do here. I do all this on my own, so it just takes a moment to get something set up. So here we go. This is what Donald Trump had to say on Twitter earlier, and this is why we're talking tonight. And we've been on for 3 hours and 20 minutes. Wow. All right, here you go, folks. And then I'll play Cyril in the background. What he had to say about Donald Trump and how he's going to talk to Donald Trump. You keep yourself. You keep your country. Featherstone just subscribed. Well, I know Rachel Featherstone. Here we go.
And we've been saying, over this issue of the land, this issue that Donald Trump fears so much, we offer this question of the land. I don't know what Donald Trump has to do with South African land, because he's never been here. And he must keep his America. We will keep our South Africa.
Yeah, tell him, Cyril.
That's what he must do. South Africa is our land. South Africa belongs to all the people who live here in South Africa. It does not belong to Donald Trump.
No.
He can keep his America. And Ene is even worse. He's even worse. When I meet him, I will tell him. I'll say, you, Donald Trump, you are even worse, because your forebears came to America. They found the native, the indigenous Americans. They wiped them out. They killed nearly all of them. Rene, we are living as a nation, and black and white, we are going to find solutions for our land question. So Donald Trump must leave us alone.
Away, Amandla! Away, Amandla! Shut up, you twit, you deuce. What a deuce. All right, this is Donald Trump's response tonight when caught on the tarmac at Andrews Air Force Base earlier this evening. So let me get this up over here really quickly for you, and this will be the last thing we update on this tonight, and then I'll have more updates afterwards. But I will be appearing on the Gareth Cliff Show after this. You'll be redirected there automatically, so please feel free to go over there and join Gareth, and thanks for being here. Appreciate those who tune in tonight, and go watch all my content. You'll see information on this. So here's Donald Trump speaking to reporters who freaked out thinking he was cutting aid to Africa, which is not the case.
So you said that you were going to cut aid from South Africa. Will you plan to cut aid across other African nations, and why South Africa?
No, it's only South Africa. Terrible things are happening in South Africa. The leadership is doing some terrible things. It's horrible things. So that's under investigation right now. We'll make a determination. And until such time as we find out what South Africa is doing, they're taking away land, they're confiscating land, and actually they're doing things that are perhaps far worse than that.
And on to that.
Far worse than that. So I'm going to go on to Gareth Cliff and give you the updates about what's going on. Wow, we have 429 people currently here. Thanks for tuning in, folks. Look, here's the bottom line. Okay, Trump said future funding for South Africa. What that means is that funding that currently is in the pipeline will likely be paid throughout this year because it's a matter of public law, signed into law by Biden, and we have to pay that stuff off unless there's a legitimate reason to stop it. So we'll probably continue with PEPFAR and going forward. But he said more will take place, which means probably AGOA is off the table. You're going to lose AGOA. And probably sanctions will be on the table to get South Africa to change behavior. So that's coming, folks. Wow. Apologies for outrageous slander against your people. South Africa free of leftism. It's okay. Duis. Yeah, I said Duis, Andre. I think Tulsi would have been better suited as ambassador to UN. I agree with that, Sandra. That one I agree with. She would be better there. All right, so there you go, folks. 432 people here, 386 likes. Let's get us to 400.
That was easy.
Got some new members during the stream. Thank you for that. About 99% sure Elon had a hand in Trump's decision. I knew they would come through for us. It's me again. I think Elon did have a hand in it, but I think Joel Pollak probably also had a role in it too. And I would hope that maybe someone's paying attention to what I'm doing. It's gotten a lot of attention the past week. And it's funny how this bill was signed 2 weeks ago and no action was taken until a couple days ago after I put my video up about the impact of the relations between U.S. and South Africa. I think it opened a lot of people's eyes about what's going on with South Africa, what's going on with U.S., and how we're taken advantage of. And enough is enough. We've had enough of it. So that video, which I did, Donald Trump is not playing around, was a few days ago, and that one has now 100 and, is it not? Still hasn't got to 170,000? Come on, it's got to be past that now. No, 168,000. Okay, YouTube is not, this is just wrong. They're not updating this. It says 170,000 views. Anyway, but I exposed what's going on here. So, and that was, what, a few days ago on the 31st. So just a few days ago. And suddenly we have this happening a couple days later. Be nice if I had impact on that. Not that I want South Africans to suffer. But anyway, time for me to go, folks. Thanks for being here. I really hate to shut down a live stream with 432 people here, but I will come back a little bit later and do another live stream, probably a short one, and then get you updated on what's going on. So I'll be on Gareth Cliff. I'll probably only be on there for 10 or 15 minutes, I imagine, because I think Rob Hersoff is coming on there. So thanks. Is that the easy button from the New START treaty? Yes, it is.
That was easy.
That's right. It's easy button from the strategic arms reduction talks. Yep. Which never went into effect because the treaty was never signed by our Senate. All right, guys, that's it. Never endorsed. Okay, Ramadus. Tulsi was brilliant in her confirmation hearing. Okay. All right, if you say so, Magus, but that's not how the press is reporting, but we can never trust the press anyway. Thanks for being here, folks. Be sure to hit the like button before you leave. We got the 400 and 5,000 watch this live stream. Wow, that's pretty awesome. I really appreciate everyone being here. I'll be back after Gareth Cliff, probably at the top of the next hour, unless I go longer, and we'll do another update. I'll check the news to see if any more information has come out, but I doubt it because it's now 11 o'clock here on the East Coast. Cheers, everybody. God bless. Big Daddy, Liberty, Sile Ngabisa, and I think Citizen Concern say never trust a commie. Yeah, don't trust the comrades, don't trust the commies, and don't trust the fake stream media. Get your analysis from objective, independent news sources, and then you decide for yourself. Cheers, everybody. God bless.